Homecoming on the Hill in Abilene, Texas on a gorgeous fall Saturday in October. It's UAC football on ESPN Plus as Abilene Christian University hosts the Eastern Kentucky University Colonels. Hi everyone, welcome to UAC football on ESPN Plus. Grant Boone alongside the coach Bob Shipley. How quickly things can change in conference play. Last week, both of these teams unbeaten in league play. Both suffer a loss, and Bob, the time is now for both of them.
Well, it really is. This game will determine to a large extent who's going to have a chance to play for the championship and obviously a playoff spot. So everything on the line today for these two teams.
Yeah, a second conference loss would be tough to overcome. Think about both of these teams trying to bounce back from road losses last week. For Keith Patterson, he's hoping for a big crowd today.
He's fired up for this game. As a coach, you can't wait to get that bad taste out of your mouth. And I don't know that I've seen a coach yanking at the chain, to get to this game as much as I've seen Coach Patterson. Abilene Christian has won 5 homecoming games in a row. EKU coming on their second long road trip in a row, having to go to Southern Utah last week. So it's going to be an interesting matchup here. Two teams that don't know a lot about each other.
Well, that's true. It's just the second time that they have met. And now let's meet the third member of our broadcast team, Roman Raffelli.
Thanks, guys. After a disappointing loss to North Alabama last week, ACU will look to move to 4-1 in conference play today. Their key to success will be to pound the rock with their dual threat backfield. Sam Hicks and Isaiah Johnson have combined to rush for almost 140 yards per game and 16 touchdowns so far this season. Their performances, along with the rest of the Wildcat offense, have led the team to score 38 points per game, which ranks 12th in the FCS. The Wildcat offense will take on the Colonels, who come into today's game with the second best run defense in the conference. ACU has won their last 5 homecoming games and will look to extend that streak here today. Grant, Bob, back to you.
Roman, thank you. Take a look at the conditions. 77 degrees. Bob, it's a great day for football.
Beautiful day. Just partly cloudy skies in the West Texas town of Abilene, Texas, where Eastern Kentucky University Colonels have come into town and are trying to break a road losing streak for the season as they take on Abilene Christian Wildcats.
Kyler Meskey boots it away for Abilene Christian. And it's going to be returned. Jalen Montgomery is top 4 in the nation in kick returns, but will not add to that gaudy total of 31 plus yards per return. Stop to the 15, 1st and 10 for Eastern Kentucky.
Really nice matchup today. You've got 2 of the leading quarterbacks in the conference, with Morrissey being the number 2 behind
Yes.
Maverick McIver, of course, and he's a very capable quarterback.
Matt Morrissey transferred from Western Illinois last year, played at University of Northern Iowa as well. The auspicious goal of trying to replace Parker McKinney, one of the greatest quarterbacks, maybe the best ever in Eastern Kentucky history. You mentioned the road woes. They're 0-3, second long road trip in a row after playing at Southern Utah last week. Montgomery goes in motion. Morrissey wants to throw, dumps it off, and that's going to be a good, solid first down gain. Pass complete. Running back Braden Latham. It's a 1st and 10 for Eastern Kentucky.
What a well-designed play there as they motioned a player away from the play and really had a nice area for the running room for the running back as he came out of the backfield.
Joshua Carter now the tailback to the right of Morrissey. Strong offensive line led by left tackle Dylan Collins, an NFL prospect. Zone read, it is a give. This is Carter. He's got about 5, maybe 6. And it brings up a 2nd down and 4. Take a look at the offense. There's Carter. He'll split time with Braden Latham in the backfield. They're looking for that big play guy. DeQuan Stanley, their leading receiver. There's Peyton Collins there, the left tackle. Vincent Munlin Jr. He is Mr. EKU. He's the pride of the program, and he's trying to instill that Colonel pride in this year's team. Handoff up the middle and stopped for very little by Kagan Roach is the tailback Carter. And it's going to bring up the first 3rd down of the game. 3rd and about 3 from their own 32, just underway from Abilene. Homecoming for Abilene Christian and a first-time visitor to Abilene, Texas, Eastern Kentucky. It's just the second time that these two programs have met. The teams don't really know each other. There's only one Texan on the roster for Eastern Kentucky. He doesn't travel with the team. So these are not familiar foes.
And it's not uncommon for these two teams to go through this season without a lot of common opponents that they know a lot about.
3rd down and 3. ACU sends 4. Over the middle, pass is knocked away, and it's Will Schaefer, the leading tackler for ACU. He had a game-sealing interception on this field 2 weeks ago to beat then number 5 Central Arkansas. That's a first down if he doesn't get his left paw in there.
Certainly was. That was a really, really nice play. Going to force the Colonels into punting for the first time, and if you're Abilene Christian, you do not want them to have a sustained drive, obviously. And deep for the Wildcats, of course, is one of the most dangerous punt returners in all of FCS football.
And this is a Colonels team that has given up some big punt returns. Jacob Baker boots it away, straight up into that 15-mile-an-hour breeze, end over end. And Nehemiah Martinez the first. Fields it, no return to the fair catch. It'll be 1st and 10 at their own 37. And here comes the Wildcat offense. They are led by their quarterback, Maverick McIver. He is quickly climbing up the ranks all time. A number of passing categories for ACU. He's number 2 in the nation this season in FCS football in yards per game with nearly 319. He's 1st in total yards. And he's coming off a game last week, a loss at North Alabama, in which the passing game was largely controlled. They're going to go play action on the first opportunity. And it's nearly intercepted, intended for Javon Gibson, and broken up there by Jordan Thomas.
Well, that was a missed opportunity for the Wildcats, as they had a receiver that was wide open running down the field, Blaine Taylor, and McIver just missed him. Of course, McIver's father, Rick McIver, great quarterback for the University of Texas back in the early 80s.
They go screen to Taylor. They'll have a first down. Hangs on to the ball as he crosses midfield. And big Blaine Taylor, NFL body, and he's been a dependable receiver for Keith Patterson the last couple of seasons. Takes it to the 46 of EKU. Another look here. Fake it one way, go the other, Coach.
Yeah, Coach Patterson loves those tall receivers, and the way that he can use them, and then a Nehemiah Martinez, a short guy, to let them do what they do best.
That's Martinez motioning into the backfield. 1st and 10, it's a give to Sam Hicks, and he breaks a tackle, and Big Sam has another first down for ACU. And he lets everybody know, move the chains. Now, you see Hicks listed, and Roman was talking about that 1-2 punch for ACU. They're not going to have one of those punches. Isaiah Johnson, not going to go today. He has been the leading touchdown scorer from the backfield for ACU. Dinged up last week. Again, the loss to North Alabama. And so it's Hicks and Jordan Vaughn. Empty backfield, at least to start out. Now Hicks retreats. And it is a give to Hicks. And nothing doing. Loss of a couple. Back to the 37-yard line. It'll be 2nd down and 13.
Really nice coming off the ball by the Colonels defensively. There was not a place for Sam Hicks to find any room at all. Good backside pursuit. He's going to lose 2 yards, maybe 3 yards.
2nd down and 13. Khalil Debrick with the stop. Braden Sullivan, the leading tackler for EKU. Martinez goes in motion. McIver wants to chuck it. Being pressured, rolls out of it. Squares his body, fires it deep downfield, coming back. Taylor can't stay in bounds and couldn't hold on anyway. And McIver bought himself some extra time, couldn't connect. He got a 3rd down and long coming up.
Well, he had Martinez that came open. You can see number 20 just went out of the screen there, but McIver had to avoid the pressure, and he decided to go for it all.
And the wind was going in the direction of that throw. It's a southeasterly wind. In that exact direction, I think the wind may have gotten a hold of that one. So with the wind to the back, ACU is within field goal range at the moment. A great field goal kicker in Ritzy Vase, but they don't want to settle for 3. Snap to McIver, 4-man rush. McIver steps up in the pocket, fires it over the middle, and it's incomplete. And lucky it wasn't picked off. And after a couple of first downs, ACU, let's see if they're going to send out Vase, or if they're going to send the punter, Grant Nickel, out.
Well, the Colonels that time dropped 7 into coverage. And I'm talking about not just shallow coverage. They were all over their end of the field. It just wasn't a place for McIver to go with the ball.
It would have been a 54-yard field goal. Ritzy Vase kicked a 54-yarder at the buzzer to beat Northern Colorado earlier this season. But they're going with Grant Nickel, a punter, to try to pin EKU deep. End over end punt with the wind at his back, and that's going to go way too deep, 5 yards in. And so Eastern Kentucky holds, and they'll have it back. First and 10 at their own 20. Early going from Abilene, ACU, and EKU. Homecoming on the campus of Abilene Christian University. They put 5 more into the ACU Sports Hall of Fame last night, including Taylor Gabriel and Darrell Richardson, a couple of the Wildcat greats who went on to play in the NFL. Matt Morrissey leads the EKU offense back onto the field. Each team's had the ball. Each team's had a first down. Each team had to punt it away. Going into the wind, Morrissey goes with a zone read and hands off to Carter, and he'll get maybe a couple. And it brings up a 2nd down and 7. Surprised that ACU didn't try a field goal on the last opportunity.
I really was, because you've got a good Southwest Texas wind here, and I'm sure these guys practice with this wind and against the wind a lot. But certainly Coach Patterson knows the limits of his players and the way he wants to proceed in this game. But
and then the punt just drifted too far into the end zone, so it was a win for EKU in that respect. 2nd down and 7. Morrissey dumps it off, and it is incomplete. Schaefer was chasing Carter, and it's a 3rd down and 7 coming up. Take a look at impact players. Morrissey and Daquan Stanley trying to hook up today. Kirby Cohealy and Will Schaefer, a couple of terrific linebackers for ACU. It's an ACU team that gives up a lot of points, but Walt Wells, the head coach of Eastern Kentucky, said, I think that's largely because they have so many chunk plays. They score on big plays so often, they're back on the field. Walt Wells of EKU thinks that the ACU defense is better than their raw numbers show. Here's Roach chasing Morrissey, who buys himself some time as the flag comes in. Morrissey on the run is going to get pushed out of bounds, and if it's a flag on the offense, then ACU will most likely decline it. Zach Erdman is our referee today. There's Zach.
yeah, certainly it's holding. About all you see. Yeah, it is. The preliminary signal is holding.
So 4th and 7.
Offense, number 62. Penalties decline.
Yeah, he's going to decline.
All right, so again, here comes Jacob Baker. And if this was I'm not sure if this is a heavyweight fight. These two teams are hoping to be heavyweights in the UAC. Maybe welterweight at the moment, or light heavyweights, but certainly they're feeling each other out so far. The defenses have largely won here so far.
Well, the winner of this game is certainly going to be able to continue on their drive for a conference championship and hopefully a playoff spot. The loser of this game will be behind the 8 ball a little bit, but still are not mathematically eliminated.
Here's the punt from Baker, into the wind, end over end, and again a fair catch called for and made by Nehemiah Martinez. Similar spot to where ACU took over on its first possession. No score. 9:37 to go in the first quarter from Abilene, Texas. United Athletic Conference matchup on ESPN+.
Welcome back inside Abilene here against the Eastern Kentucky Colonels. ACU center Tay Yanta is making his 30th consecutive start since transferring to ACU before the 2022 season. Alongside Yanta, Jacob Thielen is making his 40th career start this week, and Alan Hatton made his 30th consecutive start last week. The stability of this offensive line has been the key factor in the offense rushing for over 169 yards per game and 17 touchdowns so far this season. Grant, Bob, back to you.
And Bob, you know better than anybody, as the guy who ran behind great offensive lines, not just big and fast and strong, but veteran guys up front.
No doubt, no doubt. And unfortunately, they're not all of them are going to be coming back.
That's right. 1st and 10 for Abilene Christian. Hicks gets the carry, turns upfield. He's got a solid gain. maybe about 5, maybe 6 by the time forward progress stopped. Take a look at impact players on the ACU offense and the EKU defense. Mike Smith Jr. is an NFL prospect and one of the greats at EKU. Nehemiah Martinez the first-year player, transfer from Texas Tech, a native of Lubbock. And Maverick McIver, also a transfer from Tech in his 3rd season as the Wildcat starter. 2nd down and short. McIver fires over the middle. Pass caught by Taylor. And again, ACU is into Colonel territory. Taylor forward progress to the 40 before being shoved back. And it brings up a 1st and 10 as we take another look. And again, that line gave him time.
Yeah, they did. And I tell you what, Maverick is really, McIver has a really strong arm, and he's got a quicker release, I think, probably than Matt Morrissey, but they're both very good quarterbacks.
50 career touchdown passes for Maverick McIver. Looking for another here. Fires it down the field, and slipping was Taylor. And fortunate that one wasn't picked off, as Taylor's big 6'5" wide receiver lost his footing. 2nd down and 10. Well, these are the ones that make you hold your breath, because he had let it go before Taylor slipped.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. And he had a couple of check downs that were open, but he also had an open receiver down the field for a 1st down who happened to slip down.
It's a Hicks. He's the tailback. Went for 99 yards and a couple of touchdowns in the loss last week at North Alabama. And it's a screen caught there by Taylor. And maybe 4 yards, brings up a 3rd down and 6. Not a play we've seen much with Taylor screening there.
No, usually the guy that didn't do a very good job blocking that time, Nehemiah Martinez, is the one catching that ball and doing some pretty incredible things after he catches it. But anyway, he'll have to improve on his blocking if they're going to come back to that play.
Taylor is the most explosive. Well, that he gets it's 1A, 1B in terms of explosive plays. Taylor and Nehemiah Martinez. So now another 3rd down from a similar spot in the field as last possession. Martinez goes in motion. McIver goes play action. They rush an extra defender. ACU picks it up, and McIver fires it, caught by Martinez. So now 4th and 2 from the 32. It's a 49-yard field goal attempt with the heavy wind, or it's a go for it. Let's see what Keith Patterson wants to do. I think he's going to keep his offense out there.
He is, and I don't blame him.
Ritzy Vase has been dependable for ACU, but he did miss one last week. He's 8 of 10. I mean, 80% is awfully impressive. He missed one last week in the 3rd quarter that could have given ACU an 11-point lead against North Alabama. They wound up losing 47-34. So here we go, 4th down and 2, and they're going to go. And McIver fires over the middle, deflected, and
it's going to be a penalty.
A huge hit, and I think we're going to get possibly a defenseless receiver penalty.
Possibly even targeting.
Wouldn't be pass interference because it was deflected,
no,
but
he got leveled. It would be targeting, I think.
It was in. Yeah, that's a defenseless receiver, and that's going to give ACU a conversion. And Taylor.
That's one of their impact players. Maddox Marcelius, the 6'3", 225-pound sophomore that laid that lick, and that's as big a lick as you'll see. Unfortunately, it's not legal anymore to do that.
Yeah, that had gotten you player of the week when you were playing, right?
Yeah, let's take a look at this, Grant.
Yeah. Yeah, that was.
That's not easy to see.
After the play was over, personal foul, targeting, defense.
And that's huge.
Previous play is under further review.
So every targeting call is reviewed, and Keith Patterson is out on the field absolutely livid. It is the definition of the defenseless receiver. And again, it wasn't that long ago when that play would have
made the highlights.
It absolutely would have. But it is going to give Abilene Christian a 1st and 10, assuming the targeting foul stands. Officials review, and we'll return to Abilene in a moment. Okay, I think we're about to see an overturn of the targeting call.
There was no foul for targeting. It'll be EKU's ball.
No foul for targeting on Maddox Marcellus. Take one more look here. So this was not a defenseless receiver call, and nor was it targeting. So not only does EKU take over
Yeah, he did not hit. I thought he hit him with his helmet. That replay showed it really well. He didn't hit him with his helmet.
And so not only does EKU take over, they keep Marcellus in the game, one of the impact players. So 1st and 10 as ACU is denied. Twice they had chances to go for field goals and opted not to get them. Morrissey completes it, and that's about 7 or 8 yards to wide receiver Jacob Dixon. And it brings up a 2nd down and 2 as they get to their deepest spot of the game so far.
Nice open field tackle by linebacker Will Schaefer. They make it look easy, but I tell you, it's anything but easy tackling a guy like that in the open field.
Latham is into the right in the backfield. Now he'll go in motion. Morrissey hands off running right and very close to a 1st down. I think they'll move the change. We'll see. There's Keith Patterson. He was really unhappy with the non-call. 3rd year as the ACU head coach, former defensive coordinator at Texas Tech, among other stops. There's big Jerry Lawson from Breckenridge, Texas, just down the road from here. It is a 1st down for EKU, their 2nd of the game. And now with 6 minutes and change to go in the 1st quarter, they try to string a couple of 1st downs together. It's a handoff to Latham, spin move to midfield, and a gain of 8. And EKU, which has not had a lead on the road yet this season in 3 games, they're out to midfield with a 2nd and short.
Yeah, but they played some pretty good people.
They played Mississippi State and WKU, Western Kentucky, on the FBS level. Last week, played out at Southern Utah. 2nd down and short from the midfield stripe. And it is a give again for virtually nothing. As Lawson brings down Latham, and it brings up a 3rd down and 2. Talk about, you can get some long road trips in the UAC. You've got West Georgia, the easternmost school. You got Eastern Kentucky, of course, and then you get Southern Utah and Utah Tech out west. This is maybe the longest back-to-back that any team will have in the UAC this year. 3rd down and short, and it's a handoff up the middle, and ACU is going to deny Latham the line of scrimmage even. Loss of a ½ yard, and a 4th down coming up, and a decision for Walt Wells.
That was a great play. Let's take a look at it.
And that was Kagan Roach. And that was Chris Wright who got the initial hit, and Roach was there to wrap up Latham. And so, in this game of field position so far, ACU is twice, both possessions in fact, opted not to take field goal attempts. And here on 4th and short, watch out for a possible fake. It's a good area of the field to do it. ACU stopped a fake punt last week. This is Baker, who gets this one away. It goes sideways and out of bounds at about the 13-yard line, and ACU will have its worst field position of this 1st quarter with 4:09 to play. No score.
ACU was just in a safe punt return that time. With the punter punting into the wind, you know it's probably going to be a fair catch because the guys can get down there so fast with that ball hanging up in the wind. If Martinez gets a chance to return some punts with a punter that's out kicking his coverage because of the wind, he may have a chance to return it. But right now, Eastern Kentucky has done a good job of not letting him be able to get in the open field with the football.
McIver so far 4 of 9 for 40 yards. EKU has done a good job, especially on 3rd and 4th downs. From their own 13-yard line, it's a handoff, and this is Hicks, and he's got about 3.5 or 4. And again, no Isaiah Johnson, part of that stable of running backs that ACU features. Hicks this season has led the team in rushes, 7 touchdowns to his credit, including 2 last week. 2nd down at about 6. Quick hitter to Blaine Taylor, who breaks toward the 23, and this is very close to a 1st. I think they'll say move it, and they will, and ACU gets a little bit of breathing room as Taylor makes another catch, and that is for him his 4th. Make it his 5th catch already. 1st and 10 at the 23-yard line. Running here under 4 minutes to go in the 1st quarter. It is, as you said, a big game for both teams in terms of the standings. It's a light schedule in the UAC today. Martinez in motion, and McIver retreats, steps up in the pocket, breaks a tackle, on the run. He's got Martinez wide open, and he dropped it. Well, there haven't been many drops by Martinez this year, and it looked like he couldn't wait to get going.
I tell you what, Eastern Kentucky's doing a good job of getting pressure on McIver so far today, and they're doing a good job of dropping back into coverage and not giving him anything easy.
I don't know how many yards Martinez would have had after that catch, but with his elusive yards after the catch ability, might have made something happen. 2nd and 10, and nowhere to go for McIver on the first read. And on the run, gets it away. Did J.J. Henry bring it in? He did. At the 32-yard line. That's a gain of 9 as Henry caught 4 balls last week, 3 of them for first downs, and McIver made something out of nothing here, thanks to Henry.
Yeah, McIver flushed out. Really didn't need to be flushed out. It wasn't as dire as he probably thought it was going to be. He might be a little gun shy back there.
All right, so the quick hitter to Jordan Vaughn is not going to happen. Eastern Kentucky with a quick timeout. Walt Wells there in his 5th season at EKU, an alumnus of Austin Peay, UAC rival, native of Nashville, Tennessee. And he was an assistant for the legendary EKU coach Roy Kidd, one of the great coaches in college football history, top 10 in games coached and top 10 in wins.
Then the magic happened.
Roy Kidd kind of led Eastern Kentucky into that FCS era as the first dynasty of this subdivision. One more look here, Bob, at the catch from J.J. Henry.
Well, and just impressive throwing the ball on the run like that.
On sale now.
Perfectly on the money for McIver. Yeah, that was a really big-time play.
And he did bring it in.
I think Eastern Kentucky just wanted to make sure they had the right personnel on the field for 3rd and 1. But with ACU, you never know.
Jordan Vaughn is the tailback. He's missed most of the season injured, but back today, and he'll get a chance here. The transfer from Wyoming makes a couple of men miss, and he's got a first down across the 40. So Jordan Vaughn, who last year played in 6 games for ACU, battled injuries last year as well, productive when he played, and a productive 3rd and 1 there, and it's 1st and 10.
And he gives you a different size back there. He's 6'3", 235 pounds. Not a bad guy to give the ball to on 3rd and short.
All right, 1st and 10. ACU's moved it out from their own 13-yard line. That's Martinez in motion, and he'll run this one on a reverse. Gets a block from Henry on the edge, and will pick up about 3, maybe 4. Walt Wells was there saying, hang on now, where's the hold? Walt Wells was a really good offensive lineman for Austin Peay. He didn't like the holding calls when he was a player. He wanted one there, and they're going to give 3 yards to Martinez.
That's a play Martinez has had a lot of success with this year, by the way.
ECU with a couple in the backfield to start with. And it's a give, and again, this is Vaughn running left, cuts it upfield. Jordan Vaughn has a first down for ACU. They've had it 3 times. They've taken it into Colonel territory, all 3, with 90 seconds to go in the first quarter. Man down for EKU. That's Vaughn, who is a welcome returner for ACU, having missed most of the season.
Really nice block that sprung that by number 87, Brian Henry. He's the one that came in motion and then blocked out the end man on the line of scrimmage that opened up a nice hole.
Ryan Jackson is the man down for EKU. Clock stopped with 1:30 to go. Take a look at the records there. Eastern Kentucky at 3-3. It's weird. We're on the back half of the month of October. They played 2 conference games. It's just a quirk in the schedule with 9 teams in the league. ACU, you see, has already played 4, so they played twice as many conference games. ACU has next week off as Keith Patterson continues to talk to the officiating crew, and Ryan Jackson exits the field. Good to see him leaving largely under his own power. But just 2 conference games played for Eastern Kentucky. That's why I think this one's big, really, for both teams.
And they were riding a 3-game winning streak before they went out to Southern Utah last week with wins over West Georgia, Morehead State, and Robert Morris. Tough loss at Southern Utah, 42-21, before they headed out to West Texas.
Yeah, and you see Keith Patterson. He's a product of Marlow, Oklahoma.
Yes, sir.
Big crowd here, of course, for homecoming for Abilene Christian. And they're hoping to see some offense from the home team. It's a give to Jordan Vaughn again, and he'll spin out for 3 to the 43-yard line.
Marlow, Oklahoma, also the home of Joe Dial.
How about that?
Who was one of the greatest high school pole vaulters in the history of our country.
Of course, they know they're pole vaulting at Abilene Christian. They've had some of the greatest ever, including Billy Olson.
11-time world record holder.
About that. Great track and field tradition at Abilene Christian. Hut Graham missed last week, goes in motion. Vaughn's going to get the carry again, and the big fella is going to push the pile across the 35 and give Abilene Christian another first down. First and 10 at the 35-yard line of Eastern Kentucky in what could be the final play of the first quarter. You know what AC wants to do here with the wind at their backs.
ACU is doing a pretty good job of running the ball. Eastern Kentucky has been very effective with their pass rush and their pass coverage, in my opinion. So ACU saying, okay, well, let's just see how we can do running the ball. And so far, they've been able to run the ball very well, and Jordan Vaughn is a big reason why.
He's got 4 carries now for 30 yards. Maverick's going to throw it, or try to. Fires it into the end zone. He's got Eddie Henry, his tight end. He catches, stays in bounds, and is knocked out at the 5. Mama named him Brian, but says, call him Eddie. And Eddie Henry has the biggest play of the game so far. McIver hits his big tight end and gives Abilene Christian a first and goal when the second quarter begins in a moment. Absolutely gorgeous here in West Texas. 77 degrees, no score. Abilene Christian shut out the fourth quarter last week against North Alabama, shut out the first quarter here, but driving. It's first and goal from the 7-yard line, and Maverick McIver gives to Sam Hicks, using his blocker perfectly, and it's a touchdown for ACU. Eddie Henry took him inside the 10 and then led the way for Hicks into the end zone. 6-0 ACU.
Wow, that's a great job. Henry is really laying some wood out there with his blocks, and I know these backs really appreciate that. EKU having a hard time with ACU's running game. They're going to have to shore it up a little bit to stay in this, because if ACU's able to, if they start loading the box, then we know ACU's going to start airing it out. So EKU's kind of in a tough situation here, especially if they get behind a couple of touchdowns.
Ritzy Vase had his first extra point fail last week. It was blocked against North Alabama. That one is true. And he gives Abilene Christian a 7-0 lead. Officially an 8-yard run for Sam Hicks. 6 for Hicks again. And ACU has the lead. Sam Hicks with his 8th rushing touchdown of the season. He ran right behind Eddie Henry, his tight end. How about the patience for Hicks?
Oh, yeah. Hicks has done that very, very well. That's one of the reasons he's such a successful runner, especially in this offense, which is kind of his own, 3-gap concept sometimes, where they can take it 1 of 3 directions. He can cut it back. He's got a lot of patience, and he and Vaughn are proving to be a pretty good 1-2 punch tonight, without, of course, the service of the normal starter, Isaiah Johnson, who's out today.
ACU has 142 yards total offense, just 36 for Eastern Kentucky. Kyler Meskey is the kickoff specialist for Abilene Christian in his first season in that role for the Wildcats. He's kicking into the wind. Let's see what he opts to do here. He's going to go low, and this one's headed out of bounds, I think. And it is going to be out of bounds. It'll be first and 10 at the 35-yard line. That's a tough one. Do you try to kick it into the wind and just say whatever happens, happens? Do you go with a squib, directional? You got some options there, and that one just drew a little too much left, missed the fairway.
Yeah, it did. A lot of people will just kick it deep, but mainly high, and let the wind hold it up to get the coverage team down there. And you hope you get a fair catch at the 20 or 25. But the 35, you just giving them an extra first down that they didn't earn. Eastern Kentucky, I'm sure, appreciates that.
Yeah, they got it to midfield, had a 4th down at about 2.5, opted to punt it away. Pinned ACU at the 13, but the Wildcats went 87 yards. And now with the wind at their backs for the first time, let's see what Morrissey can do. So far 2 of 4 for just 18 yards. He's going to drop back here, fire over the middle, pass is caught, and then dislodged. It was wide receiver Jacob Dixon. Keith Patterson this week made a change that he thinks is going to be make an impact. Let's see who got the big hit there. It was Kirby Kohili was there to add to the hit. But he moves Elijah Moffitt and Dorian Plumlee back into the safety roles after moving Plumlee up. Here's a kick to the outside, and this is a big breaker for Joshua Carter. Best field position of the game for EKU, and Plumlee brings him down, but not until he gets to the 38-yard line. That is that's a 37-yard run.
Look at the patience. That's great patience by running back right there. He just kept working his way back to the left until he saw it, and he took off and just outflanked ACU.
We got a man down for EKU. It'll be 1st and 10 for the Colonels for the first time in Abilene Christian territory, with the Wildcats up in Abilene 7-0. First and 10 for EKU. First snap in ACU territory, and play action for Morrissey. Plants his feet, going for the home run ball, and it is just a little too high for Jaden West. We'll bring up a 2nd down and 10. Jacob Dixon was the injured Colonel. And Morrissey trying to tie the score.
Nice throw. He threw it on a rope.
Again, he's going with the wind for the first time today, so that's his first throw with it.
That's that throw right there. The difference in that throw and a touchdown is a West Texas win.
Not bad. It is steady at 15, maybe gusting a little higher. ACU puts 8 in the box. They go zone read, and here's Carter again. He's got some room, and he's got another first down. Joshua Carter with 2 big plays. He had 27 on the previous run. He gets a dozen here, and it's 1st and 10 for the Colonels.
I tell you what made that play go was Morrissey, after he handed it off, took off to the right side and held the backside linebacker, and that's exactly who should have been filling that void, but he had to make sure that Morrissey didn't keep it. Really nice play.
Deepest that EKU has been into ACU territory. Early 2nd quarter, the Cats ahead of the Colonels, 7-0. But EKU on the move. 1st and 10, zone read again, and pass over the middle is caught. It's going to be another first down at the 14-yard line. Elijah Moffitt in coverage, but not before the leading receiver, Daquan Stanley. Gives EKU its 2nd straight first down.
Well, that puts the defense in a bind. That was a run-pass option, and the linebacker came up to stop the run, which opened up the throwing lane for the slant route.
So just 36 yards in the first quarter, but already 51 here in the second on this drive. Morrissey rolls to the right, fires it too high, intended again for Jaden West. It'll bring up a 2nd and 10.
Morrissey rushed out of the pocket here a little bit. Had to throw it on the run, just had a little too much on it.
Being chased by Isaiah Kelly, who's in that spur position that Dorian Plumlee had been in. Plumlee wears number 3 for Abilene Christian. Elijah Moffitt is their veteran leader on the field. The boundary safety. So with the wind at their backs, 2nd down and 10 for EKU. It's to give to Carter, and not much, maybe a yard. And again, Isaiah Kelly was in the middle of it, and So is Jordan Butler, a defensive lineman for ACU, and it brings up 3rd down and long.
This is an interesting call coming up for Eastern Kentucky. 3rd and 9. You know they're going to throw it, I would assume. They certainly don't have to, but big play as they try to tie up this ball game here in Abilene. 12:32 to go in the second quarter.
I think ACU is going to burn a timeout as there was a bit of confusion on personnel. 3rd down and 9. And there is a timeout on the field. Big play coming up for Eastern Kentucky offensively, ACU defensively. Wildcats leading the Colonels 7-0 early second quarter from Abilene. UAC action on ESPN+. Abilene Christian leads Eastern Kentucky. First visit to West Texas for the Colonels. Second time these two teams have met. EKU beat Abilene Christian back in 2021, 30-15, a game they never trailed. That was the final year of Adam Dorrell as the head coach, Abilene Christian. Keith Patterson now the head coach, also the play caller defensively, the defensive coordinator for ACU. And let's see what he opts to do defensively on this 3rd and 9 for EKU from the ACU 13-yard line. And in motion is Montgomery. Morrissey fires it left side. It is knocked away and intercepted. That's Isaiah Kelly. Tyson Williams knocked it up in the air. Isaiah Kelly brought it down. And it's a takeaway for Abilene Christian. Just the 3rd interception thrown by Morrissey this season. And that's a big stop for the Wildcat defense.
Here's the replay. He throws that thing pretty hard out there, but nice breakup.
Williams is the young corner that Patterson thinks could be great. He's got inexperienced corners. Now we're halfway through the season, so they've got experience now. But after the corners that they said goodbye to, including Patrick Jolly last year, they have been trying to find some playmakers in the secondary, and they think they've got one in Tyson Williams. He got that one up in the air, and Isaiah Kelly brought it down. So a takeaway, and those have been tough to come by for Abilene Christian defensively. 1st and 10, they go play action, and McIver fires over the middle, caught, and that's a 1st down, and another catch for Blaine Taylor. Already his 5th of the game as we take one more look here at the takeaway.
Yeah,
I mean, going for his leading receiver, Stanley. I mean, if you wanted to nitpick, would you say that he just telegraphed it by only staring that way?
Yeah, he might have, but Williams did a great job of raking the ball out.
Here is Hicks for a gain of about 3. Bring it out to the 34-yard line. AC went 87 yards on their previous possession to score. Most of it was in the first quarter. First play of the second quarter was a Hicks touchdown run. So the 87-yard drive, best drive of the game for Eastern Kentucky, but it ends with no points. And it was Williams and Kelly who teamed up. 2nd down at about 7. And again, it's a give to Hicks, wraps the ball up and gets wrapped up after a gain of about 3 more. So you have a 3rd down and 4 going into the win for Abilene Christian. As McIver looked to the sideline, Rick Bowie is the offensive coordinator. That's Rick with his back to us walking away. Got the headset draped over his head. Stephen Thrash,
he's a guy that we'll be hearing big things about one day. He's one of the most up-and-coming, young, successful, great offensive-minded coordinators in the country.
He's gelled with McIver, and this is McIver's 3rd offensive coordinator in 3 seasons. They have found a rhythm. 3rd down and 4. McIver on the run, buys some time, fires downfield. He's got his man Castles wide open. Here comes Jed across the 35 to the 30. And it's a big play on 3rd down for Abilene Christian. 1st and 10 at the EKU 27.
Of course, he's another Texas Tech transfer.
Feels like half the team.
I tell you, the coaches here are really happy to have him, I'm sure, all those guys.
Here's a screen to Javon Gibson, and I don't think he ever went out of bounds. Tiptoeing to stay in. It's about 5. And again, McIver buying some time. This is not an EKU team that gets a lot of sacks, but McIver found Castles, who has been a big play tight end.
Yeah, that
ACU.
was obviously busted coverage by the Colonels on that. I'm not sure what happened, but it was, obviously busted. There wasn't anybody around him.
36-yard hookup. Last week was the first time this season that Abilene Christian did not have at least a 30-yard pass play. Hicks this time cuts it upfield for a yard maybe. Gibson got 7, and it's going to bring up a 3rd down and 2 from inside the 20-yard line of Eastern Kentucky, as ACU tries to flip this thing with Eastern Kentucky driving for a possible tying score. ACU gets the interception, and now Hicks is going to be close to a 1st down, and we'll see. And the headlinesman said move the chains. Let's see what the line judge says on the other side.
Might be about a half yard short.
So they do say 4th down and inches, and another decision for Keith Patterson with another Colonel down on the ground.
Timeout for an injured defensive player.
Wow, that's can be pretty devastating for the Colonels when you start having guys drop like they have them drop.
And so 4th down and inches. And ACU twice has opted not to kick a field goal. They went for it once on 4th and short, didn't get it. But on 4th and inches here, kicking into the wind, I mean, it's the 17-yard line. So even into this West Texas wind, 34 yards certainly within Ritzy Vase's field goal range, but up 7-0. Would Keith Patterson want to maybe put the hammer down here? He's having a conversation with his OC, Bowie, at the moment. What would you do here? Again, I think that's is that Ryan Jackson again, possibly?
I'm kind of John Candy from Stripes. They call me Mr. Vegas, progressive gambler.
So you'd like to see it?
I like to go for it.
Here's Jackson.
And then I like to second guess other
Correct.
people.
Yeah.
I'm glad I'm not having to make those decisions anymore. I tell you what, the last coach I worked for was Steve Sarkeesian at the University of Texas, and that guy likes to roll the dice.
Whatever happened to him, by the way? Oh yeah, he's got a game tonight too.
He's got
Georgia and Texas connecting tonight down in Austin.
But that just seems to be the norm nowadays.
It wouldn't have even been a question.
No.
Even 10, 12 years ago, you're kicking the field goal 10 out of 10 here.
Yeah, and sometimes you'll see people they'll take points off the board on a penalty if they make a field goal and go for it. It's just changed. The game is much more aggressive than it used to be, in my opinion.
It's an interesting call, given that EKU is not, at least hasn't so far been an explosive offense. They're averaging just 21 points per game. Again, they've played a couple of FBS teams, but ACU is going to go for it here, or at least show it. McIver under center, and he's going to keep it, throw it into the end zone for Castles. It's caught. It's a touchdown for ACU. They roll the dice, and it pays off.
That's a gutsy call. And I tell you what, McIver threw it under duress, and I wasn't sure that ball was going to get to
Castles.
Castles. Good night. The EKU Colonel defender was trying to get to it as fast as he could, but couldn't quite make it.
Well, it's an enormous reversal. Eastern Kentucky driving for a possible tying touchdown. ACU with the interception, and then they go 80 yards. And now here's Ritzy Vase on to attempt the extra point, and it's right down the pipe. So Abilene Christian opens up a 2-score lead. 14-0. Drives of 87 and 80. And there is the duress you spoke of. He throws it up in the air. Castle's in the air again. Both intent on returning that one. So mark it at the 20. 1st and 10. See if EKU can put together another good offensive drive. Last one came up empty with a pick. It's a handoff to Carter, or Latham rather. It was on the ground that EKU did most of its good work. No gain there. And Latham stopped at the line of scrimmage. 2nd and 10.
Yeah, Will Schaefer that time coming off the edge with a nice play for the Wildcats.
88 yards of offense for EKU, 222 for Abilene Christian, and the 14-point lead, 2 80-plus yard touchdown drives for ACU. Morrissey wants to throw. Instead, he's going to go to the turf. Chris Wright comes in for the sack and puts Eastern Kentucky in a big hole. Third down and nearly 20. Wright, coming in this year, has been an impact player defensively, almost in that Micah Parsons role, standing up at the line of scrimmage at times, dropping back in coverage others. Here he comes. He's been a handful, playing at an all-conference level. So now you got third and almost 20.
Draw, screen. Be tough to get 20 in one play, but certainly they can do it.
2 receivers to each side. Morrissey's going to keep it and go nowhere.
Quarterback draw, designed quarterback draw, but obviously didn't.
Now you want no extracurricular penalties if you're either team here. And the only saving grace, if there is any, for Eastern Kentucky is Jacob Brown, the punter. Jacob Baker, beg your pardon, is going to have the wind at his back. David Oakey is celebrating, number 98. He stopped Morrissey for a loss of 4, actually, so a sack for Oakey. Baker back in his own end zone. And look out for Nehemiah Martinez, hustling up to make the catch. He drops it, ball's on the ground. He picks it up, and he'll get maybe 5 out of what could have been just a disastrous play for Abilene Christian. So 1st and 10 in EKU territory, and already up 14-0. Abilene Christian is looking for an even bigger lead here. And this is an Eastern Kentucky team that had the game last week, Coach, much like Abilene Christian in the third quarter, where they wanted it. It was 14-14 EKU at Southern Utah. Southern Utah scored, got a strip sack of Morrissey, and then one going away. Abilene Christian was up 34-26, had the ball on North Alabama side of the field, had a touchdown called back, had a missed field goal, and the Lions came roaring back to win that one by 13. Let's see if ACU goes with a little sudden change play here. Pump fake, all ball's up in the air, and it's intercepted. Tipped ball, and the play that they needed, Jaheim Ward brings in the tipped ball, and a huge play for EKU. Just the 4th interception of the season thrown by Maverick McIver.
Well, it's a tip ball, and I've always said a tip ball is going to be a caught ball, usually by the wrong team. There you see the interception, but it would have been interesting to see if Martinez would have been able to make the reception. I think he had a lot of room. What a great play by Eastern Kentucky. Exactly the break they needed with 6:24 to go in the second quarter. They're going to need to mount a scoring drive.
Ryan Jackson, who twice has been on the turf needing attention, got his hand on it. Jaheim Ward brought it in. And now here we go with the 1st and 10, and this is Carter. And he'll be brought down after a gain of about 7. Maybe 6 officially to their own 48. So each team with a big takeaway, and each after a tipped ball. It's Dorian Plumley needing his shoulder pads tucked back in. 2nd down and 4 from near midfield. Abilene Christian won the toss and deferred their decision to the second half. So even more important for EKU to get something going here. 2 receivers left, and Morrissey on a 2nd down and 4, straight drop. Fires it right side, caught by Carter out of the backfield, and they'll move the chains to the ACU 48, and a 1st and 10 for Eastern Kentucky.
It's exactly what Eastern Kentucky needs to do. Not try to go downfield, just move the chains. Don't worry about anything else, just mix up your runs and your short passes, move the chains, and the next thing you know, you're going to be in the red zone. And the next thing you know, you're going to be close to the end zone, because they just hadn't been able to get a sustained drive going without a blow-up, it seems like.
Yep, just that one long drive that ended with the tipped ball interception in the end zone. First and 10 from the ACU side of the field, and Morrissey goes with a zone read. This is Latham. He'll have the pile push forward for 3. Stopped initially at the line of scrimmage, but it'll bring up a 2nd and 7. Eastern Kentucky looking for its first road victory. They need their first road lead of the season, maybe first. At the moment, they're down a couple of touchdowns here. Again, they played Mississippi State to open the season, and they played Western Kentucky. Battle of the Commonwealth there. And then they lost at Southern Utah. They were tied in the 3rd quarter, but then Thunderbirds pulled away to win it 42-21. 2nd down and 7 from the ACU 45.
ACU threatening blitz here.
It is a give to Carter, and he'll be ankle tackled by Plumlee after a gain of a couple, maybe 3. It'll bring up a 3rd down and 4.
Plumlee once again coming off the edge as a blitzer. Was able to stop the back. Big play here for EKU. 3rd down and 4. And they want to try to run as much time out on this quarter as they can. They don't want to give the ball back to ACU and give them a chance to score and then have to kick off to them to begin the 2nd half.
You wonder if this is not 4-down territory already for EKU. They hope they don't have a 4th down here. Carter does a little pas de deux with Morrissey. Time to throw, pass caught. 1st and 10.
Nice throw. Boy, that was right on the money.
Marcus Calwise Jr. takes it to the 33 of ACU, and a conversion much needed for Eastern Kentucky. Their first 3rd down conversion of the game. Clock runs near 3 minutes to go. And Morrissey with a fresh set of downs here. I think you're exactly right. Score, but take as much time off the clock as possible. It was 14-0 ACU, and the Cats had the ball before an interception. A dump over the middle. And that's Stanley, who's got about 3.5. Brought down by Schaefer, leading receiver for the Colonels. 2nd down at about 6.
Homecoming here today at Abilene Christian. They've won, what, 5 homecoming games in a row?
And you played in a lot of them. It can go either way, can't it? You can sometimes have, the distractions. You can also have the big crowd.
But by and large, Abilene Christian doesn't lose homecoming games very often.
This is Morrissey on 2nd and 6. Time to throw, wide open. Caught Stanley, 20, 15. Breaks out of a couple of tackles, and he's going to give Eastern Kentucky 1st and goal inside the ACU 10-yard line.
Well, Morrissey really threw that one all the way across the field from pretty close he was. He was standing on the left hash. Just a great throw. Colonel offense coming alive.
All right, you got a 2-minute timeout here. And Eastern Kentucky threatening, knocking on the door to score for the first time today. Abilene Christian had a takeaway the last time. EKU was close. Back in a moment. Two-minute timeout here in the first half with Abilene Christian leading Eastern Kentucky, but the Colonels driving. They've got a 1st and goal from just inside the 10, the nose of the football across that 10-yard line. Matt Morrissey takes the snap. Time to throw. Dumps it off, caught, and knocked to the turf. Ball's loose. ACU says they've got it. Do they? No, they say down. Kirby Cohealy came up with it.
Let's take a look on the replay here, Grant.
And that was Hunter Brown, the tight end, who brought it in. I think he was down. Cohealy had a pick 6 against Texas A&M last year at Kyle Field. That time gets the ball loose, but Brown was already down. 2nd down and goal from the 7 of ACU. Now, I think we are going to have, it says a timeout. Abilene Christian calling a timeout here.
Coach Patterson called it.
30 seconds.
Yeah, and that's, again, with 1:21 to go, you want a little time left if they score to.
And also, you want a little time to let the review official just take one more look.
Yeah.
But the angle we have, let's see what we have here. It's a better view.
To me, like the ball, well,
looks like his foot might have jarred it loose, but I don't know if it's elbow was down, his foot.
The knee goes down. There's no evidence there.
I think he's down. His elbow hits.
Well,
I think
that's the. It's almost like Kohili's leg knocks the ball.
Yeah, it was Kohili's leg that knocked it out. But I kind of feel like the receiver's elbow could have been down.
I'm not sure his knee and shin weren't down as well.
But it's certainly close enough. They should be looking at it.
Well, and again, Kirk Walker, replay official, has been looking at it, but hasn't seen enough, at least yet, to convince him to stop play for a review.
I see that.
Second down and goal from the 7. Boy, a touchdown here changes the complexion of the game dramatically. 14-7 at halftime for EKU. Feels a lot different. And had Kohili come up with that takeaway. Carter is the tailback. 5 rushing touchdowns this season for him. Second and goal. Stanley in motion. Carter is going to be wrapped up immediately. He might even lose a half yard. And a third and goal. And let's see if Keith Patterson uses another timeout for Abilene Christian. Clock runs with a minute 10. No timeout called for here. And we're at the 1 minute mark. Walt Wells, you can see him at the end of the 10-yard line there. Talking to the line judge.
Yeah,
I wonder if he may want a timeout.
Yeah, he's going to let it run down and call timeout. He doesn't want ACU to have any time.
So it's a third and goal from the 8. And I think Wells is telling the line judge, I want a timeout as soon as we get down to the 1 second mark. Thought Patterson might call a timeout for Abilene Christian again. But maybe content.
Good. I think that's a good call by Wells.
30 seconds.
So it is a timeout. Mentioned that just a couple of games besides this one in the UAC. Austin Peay at halftime leads Utah Tech, which is looking for its first win of the season out there in St. George, Utah. Austin Peay's 1-2 in the conference. They're up 10-7 at the break. West Georgia out of conference beats Shorter 41-13. You've got 5 teams with 1 loss in the UAC. Tarleton State, the only unbeaten team in the league. November is going to be jam-packed every week in the UAC. I mean, you've got Tarleton State, Central Arkansas, Abilene Christian, Southern Utah, Eastern Kentucky, all with designs on a conference championship. And here we go now on third down and goal. 33 seconds to play in the half, and Carter is the tailback to the right of Morrissey. Big play. Morrissey with a straight drop. Fires it left side. Caught. Did he hang on? He did. That's a touchdown. Big play from Marcus Calwise Jr. on third and goal. And EKU is on the board with 29 seconds to go in the first half.
This is a very impressive drive, Grant, for the Colonels when they needed it the most. They're going to have to, of course, ACU will have, I don't know if ACU will even attempt to do anything after the kickoff, but they'll certainly get the ball back in the second half to start. But this is exactly what the Colonels needed to stay close.
Think about it. After Abilene Christian got the punt at inside the 50-yard on the EKU side of the field, the first play was a tipped ball that EKU brought in for an interception. And now the extra point from Patrick Nations is good. And a big change. What could have been maybe a 3-score lead for Abilene Christian is now a 1-score game. One more look here. One guy had a chance to catch this, and he did. Marcus Calwise Jr.
Yeah, nice catch. Nice throw.
First touchdown reception this year for Calwise. And for Matt Morrissey, his 9th touchdown throw. The kickoff here, I think, will determine what Abilene Christian opts to do here, perhaps. Again, the wind at the back.
Abilene Christian, number 21, is wearing 78. 21.
EKU.
Well, I would try to kick it out of the back of the end zone with this wind.
Yeah.
Not give ACU a chance.
Nation's
Nehemiah Martinez back there.
You got Martinez, you got Sam Hicks, you got J.J. Henry. Nation's the special teams player of the week of the UAC last week. 14-7, and a very different feeling game here with a couple of teams that are trying to bounce back from tough losses last week. This one is going to be a touchback. That actually cleared the crossbar, I believe. And so now a decision from the 25-yard line. Abilene Christian has a timeout, and we'll see if they opt to do anything with it here. You've got an explosive passing game with McIver, Blaine Taylor, Nehemiah Martinez. With 29 seconds, sometimes you'll see a run play. If it gets you anything, then maybe you burn the timeout. But who knows what Rick Bowie and company opt to do here. McIver in the first half, 11 of 18 for 155 yards, a touchdown and a pick after that batted ball. It is Hicks with the carry and very little, and that might well be the last play of the half. Think it is. Neither team appears interested in stopping the clock. I think Abilene Christian will take that as a win, 14-7, even though it could have been more. And I think Eastern Kentucky will take 14-7, given what it could have been as well.
You bet.
So it is halftime here at Homecoming on the Abilene Christian University campus. All right, at halftime, we send it down to our crew on the concourse, Matthew Dela Cruz and Jaden West.
Thanks, Grant. Welcome inside Wildcat Stadium. My name is Matthew Dela Cruz alongside my co-host, Jaden West. Maverick McIver in that first half, doing Maverick McIver things, making Maverick McIver plays. Jaden, what did you see from Maverick in that first half?
Yeah, he looked a little shaky in that first quarter, but the running game was able to get it going and allow some opportunities in that second quarter for McIver to make plays down the field. They scored a really good, solid 2 touchdowns, converting on 4th down in one of those. That resulted in a huge play. They got under center and were able to be effective in the red zone. And this Eastern Kentucky defense is pretty good in the red zone, so that's good for the Wildcats going forward.
Exciting first half here in Abilene, Texas. ACU up 14-3. We'll be back with more after this. Wildcat Stadium. Jaden, we were talking about this earlier. The big question for ACU coming into this game was, can the Wildcats stop the run? Jaden, what did you see from the Wildcat defense in that first half?
Yeah, Abilene Christian has done a really solid job of stopping this really powerful Colonel rushing game. But what I've been really impressed with is the way that ACU has been able to defend the pass. They've had some pressures on Marissi, 2 sacks, 5 tackles for loss. So they've done a really good job of limiting that game in the air, and that's going to be huge down the stretch. They also got that really big interception in the end zone. That was huge in this one-score game.
In the first quarter, Matt Marissi, quarterback for EKU, only 3 for 9 in the first quarter. Jaden, credit the ACU defense. What did you see from the EKU offense in that first half?
Yeah, well, this Colonel offense has only gotten 133 yards so far in that first half. They're going to have to pick that up if they want to hang with this powerful Wildcat offense, which I expect to come out, run that air raid out of the half, make some adjustments in the locker room. They're going to come out pretty powerful, continue to sling the ball with their quarterback and their playmaker, Maverick McIver. He's done a good job of using his legs to get out of the pocket when he's hurried. Eastern Kentucky has 3 hurries, and so McIver's been able to do a good job of making plays.
Jaden, moving forward, what is the key to the game for ACU to hang on to their lead? As we look at their quarterback stats here, what is the key to the game for ACU?
Yeah, it's going to come down to both of these guys under center. McIver needs to continue to stay consistent. That first quarter was a little shaky, missed some guys that were pretty wide open. But like I said, he's doing a good job of using his legs to get out of the pocket when needed. I just need some more consistency from him down the field. For Eastern Kentucky, they need to try to throw the ball down the field, try to get it into the safeties, into that second level, and that's going to be huge for this Colonel offense going into that second half.
Now, let's talk about the rushing game a little bit here, Jaden. ACU coming into this game averaging 165 yards per game on the ground. EKU solid on defending the run, only holding teams to 155 yards on the ground. What did you see from ACU's rushing game in that first half?
Yeah, so the Wildcats starting running back is actually out with an injury, and Sam Hicks and Jordan Vaughn have stepped up huge for the Wildcats. Jordan Vaughn, he is averaging 7.5 yards per rush, so that's really huge for the Wildcats to get that step up from their third string running back. That's going to be continuing to be huge down the stretch.
ACU out rushing EKU right now, 68 yards to 57 yards, dominating the time of possession as well. Jaden, moving forward, what do you see the outcome of this game being?
I think the Wildcats are going to make some really good halftime adjustments. Coming out of the locker room, they're going to continue to sling the ball, maybe get some out wide on the perimeter to Nehemiah Martinez, their speed guy, coming out of the slot. He's been really explosive all year long. He had a really great game 2 weeks ago here in this stadium against Central Arkansas. He was a big piece there. He's going to have to be big in the second half for the Wildcats to extend their lead and win this game like they should.
Abilene Christian University has converted on both fourth downs on both drives that they have converted a touchdown on. It's been an exciting first half. We look forward to the second half here in Abilene, Texas. Matthew Dela Cruz, Jaden West, back to the second half after this.
Halftime in Abilene, Texas, in this UAC matchup between Eastern Kentucky and Abilene Christian. The Wildcats on homecoming have the lead 14-7. Up here in the press box, Grant Boone and Coach Bob Shipley. Two big plays in the passing game, batted balls. Each team came down with an interception. It seemed to change the game. ACU got a takeaway in the end zone, went down and scored, made it 14-0. And then after Abilene Christian forced a punt from deep inside Eastern Kentucky's territory, Coach, Wildcats had it on the Colonel's side of the field. A batted ball goes to the Colonels, and they go downfield and they make it 14-7.
Yeah, that's exactly right. The difference is ACU intercepted the pass in the end zone.
Correct.
as the Colonels were about to score, certainly threatening to score. And then when the Colonels got the interception, they had to work for their score. Nevertheless, they did go down and not leave ACU any time left to mount any drive at all at the end of the half.
There you see the halftime stats, 223 for Abilene Christian, 133 for Eastern Kentucky. It felt a little bit like a game that Abilene Christian dominated, but that big takeaway on the interception thrown by Maverick McIver, deflected by defensive lineman Ryan Jackson of EKU, and picked off by Jaheim Ward. That dramatically changed this game, and now we'll see what happens with Eastern Kentucky kicking off into the wind. Abilene Christian won the toss before the game and opted to defer their decision to the second half. EKU got the decision because ACU gets the ball on which direction they want to go, and clearly the Colonels say, we want the wind at our backs in the fourth quarter, which means
dangerous. I mean, it's not dangerous. It's the right call.
Yeah.
But you like to be in the situation that Patterson's in. He gets the ball and the wind, and you got to be thinking, if you're the Wildcats, let's put this thing away if we can while we have the ball and the wind to start this second half and make it where it's not close going into the fourth quarter. If the Colonels can keep it close, advantage Colonels obviously in the fourth quarter with that big wind at the back.
Patrick Nations, the all-time leading kicker in EKU history, kicks this one that's fumbled by Hicks, and he's going to take a knee, and it is going to be a touchback. EKU's coaches are screaming for a safety. The ball was mishandled at the goal line, but the signal from the officials is touchback.
Well, I think I think he muffed it, and so I don't think a muff can cause a safety.
Well, and as we take a look at it one more time, hey, it's hard on the kickers. It's not a piece of cake for the returners either with this wind, and credit Hicks for realizing that he had the option of taking the knee, and he does. And so crisis averted for the Wildcats, and a 1st and 10 for Maverick McIver, leading the nation in passing yards. And he'll give this time to Hicks, who reverses field and is going to hang on to the football for a gain of about 8, despite the Best efforts of Braden Sullivan, the leading tackler for EKU, trying to rip it out. Good solid gain of 7, 2nd and 3. And the running game came alive for ACU in the second quarter. They've rushed it now 16 times for 75 yards. And Hicks carrying the bulk of the load. Jordan Vaughn was also effective in his handful of carries. Martinez in motion. It's play action. McIver. Pass caught by Castles has been the biggest weapon in the air today. Caught the 36-yarder, caught the touchdown, and now takes it across midfield. And those two former Texas Tech Red Raiders connect again.
I tell you, we've got it on both ends. We've got tall targets and we've got short targets, and obviously McIver likes those tall ones because they're going to get the ball in mismatches.
Daquan Stanley is one of those undersized receivers for EKU. McIver dumps it off, caught by Hicks, has a block out there, but Colonels are going to keep it under wraps. Backing his way down to the 45
that
was Hicks, and he'll wind up with a gain of 4 as another Colonel is on the turf.
I didn't think he was going to get more than a yard or two, but he backed in another 4 yards. 3 yards to make it a 2nd and 6 for the Wildcats as the Colonels suffer another player down. Of course, it's been, I don't know if they've lost any of these guys that have gone down, but they've had several down. One of them, I think, earlier in the right towards the end of the second half was a cramp, which is a little bit difficult with it being in the upper 70s here. But, you know, you never know. A guy doesn't hydrate, doesn't eat his bananas for potassium, drink that pickle juice. That's what we used to do, drink that pickle juice.
Did it work?
I don't know.
It's Braden Sullivan who's down, and he is their leading tackler, as we said, and such an important member of the Colonel defense. Timeout on the field, Abilene Christian driving. Replaced his brother, Bernard Scott, the Division II Player of the Year in 2008, the following year, and became a Hall of Fame member in his own right. Play action, McIver pumps, looking downfield, lobs it for Taylor, who's wide open. Does he hang on? Yes! Touchdown! McIver to Taylor, and ACU is up 2 scores again.
Boy, Taylor's having himself a game. Unfortunately, another injured Colonel on this play, but McIver, all the time in the world, he had to run around a little bit, but Taylor, I thought he was going to try to hit him earlier, but Taylor just kept going until he eventually got open, and McIver decided to let it fly. Boy, he throws the ball well on the run.
Off balance, and there's Taylor under duress with Mike Smith Jr. There was a little bobble of the ball, but he didn't have possession. I think the fact that he landed on his back gave him the chance to secure it. Here is I think Lee, the 5th there. Backup linebacker. One more look here, the pump fake. And then McIver with his 51st touchdown throw, or 52nd touchdown throw of his career, the 2nd today. He is 4th in the nation now with 19 touchdown throws. And Blaine Taylor has his 5th touchdown reception of the season. Ritzy Vase, family from Belgium, grew up in Wichita Falls, not far away, on for the extra point, and it is good. Abilene Christian comes out with the wind at their backs, and they go 75 yards. Think about the fumbled kickoff. Near disaster. Turns out to be 6 and then 7 for Abilene Christian. They lead it 21-7. McIver to Taylor again. And the pressure goes back on Matt Morrissey and that EKU offense.
Well, they're going to have to get some points this quarter because ACU is going to keep their foot on the pedal. And I'm not saying ACU is going to score every time they have the ball, but Eastern Kentucky cannot let them get 3 touchdown lead. I just don't know that they have the offense to be able to come back. Well, they've done it before. I shouldn't say that, but it just feels like as this game is progressing that the Colonels need to score to keep this game close if they're going to come have a comeback win.
Eastern Kentucky was down 14-6 at halftime last week. They scored to tie it midway through the third quarter, but then Southern Utah pulled away. Over the middle, this is Morrissey wide open. He's got Daquan Stanley. There's the biggest play of the game. Stanley all the way for a big-time answer.
Yeah, like I said, the Colonels don't have the offense to come back like that. One
Wow.
play, boom, they go all the way. We've got ourselves a ball game. That was a great play.
Keith Patterson this week for Abilene Christian said, too many explosive plays, and there's another one. The biggest play of the season through the air. Morrissey to Stanley, 75 yards.
Exactly what they needed. Exactly. I didn't know they'd do it in one play.
Right down the middle for Stanley. That's his 5th receiving touchdown of the season. The extra point is good, and just like that, Eastern Kentucky answers.
Well, he sure didn't. Morrissey sure had no problem throwing that ball into that wind.
No.
He
And
threw a nice one.
Stanley is celebrating, as he should. Well, this is the thing that Keith Patterson was harping on all week. The number of big plays that his defense has given up. And they give up a huge one here. One more look. Right up the seam. When you can't see a defender in the screen, you know that that was schemed well.
Yep.
And that likely Abilene Christian was deficient in some way with either their coverage or with bad decision making. And now McIver and the Wildcat offense will try to answer again. About that, so Abilene Christian goes 4 plays, 75 yards. Eastern Kentucky says we'll go even faster. And so we've had just not even 2 minutes off the third quarter clock, and each team is on the board as the ball blows off the tee. Nations will re-tee it. Wind in his face, kind of quartering. We would say quartering off the left if we were calling golf. This is Nations, the lefty. And Hicks, who fumbled the last kick, wound up with a touchback, is going to bring this one out from 1.5 yards deep. Sam Hicks, the leader in the conference in all-purpose yardage, has 29 officially. They measure it from the goal line in college football. So Hicks gives ACU reasonable field position as they try to answer. These are two teams, as we said, coming off losses, games that they had right where they wanted in the third quarter. Both let the games get away in the final 20-plus minutes. And both teams playing in this third quarter already and really all day feeling that both have a sense of urgency. A second conference loss is going to be really tough to overcome. Abilene Christian still has games at Tarleton State, home here against Southern Utah. McIver finds Taylor, who goes down with his 7th catch, but not until he picks up another dozen, and it's a 1st and 10 for ACU.
Well, if he could have kept his feet, he would have had a lot more yards after that catch. He had a little bit of grass there.
Lost his footing in the first half as well. Now you got a 1st and 10 from their own 42-yard line. Abilene Christian, last time they played on this field, they beat number 5 in the nation at the time, Central Arkansas, 41-34, but lost on the road last week. It's to give to Martinez, the wide receiver. He's got a seam, cuts it back inside, and Nehemiah across the 35, down to the 31-yard line, and that is a gain of 27 yards for the speedster from Lubbock.
And he shows us what he's shown opposing defenses all year. He is tough to get bottled up. He is quick, he's explosive, and he has great acceleration.
And the goal is to get the ball in his hands as many times as possible for ACU. That's Vaughn, the tailback, in motion. He's going to carry it up the middle, lowers the shoulder, and gets near another ACU 1st down. Now they say the ball is out, and it is. Vaughn lost it. And Eastern Kentucky has it back. The pile kept pushing, and Vaughn lost it.
The ruling on the field is a fumble.
Well, here
recovered by EKU.
let's see what this looks like here on the replay, Grant. Wow, I think that could have been a targeting. A guy came in and hit him in the head.
And that is the second turnover for Abilene Christian, and it has been a problem for the Wildcats all season. Turnover margin, they've been upside down from the jump, and that is another massive takeaway for Eastern Kentucky with ACU. All right, so that late push, Vaughn thought he was down, but again, you're on top of a bunch of players on both sides. There is no review. This is Eastern Kentucky ball. And so now the Colonels are looking to tie this game. They scored on their last possession, a one-play 75-yard connection from Morrissey to Stanley. They go 3 wide out to the wide side. And it's a give to Carter, and he's got a head of steam and a gain of 9.
Well, that's exactly what you want. When you're the Colonels, you can get 9 yards on first down.
And a flag comes in. There's been a bit of extracurricular here since the second quarter. Again, these teams don't really know each other. Unfamiliarity breeding a bit of contempt here. And let's see who this is on, if not both.
Unsportsmanlike conduct, defense, number 90, his first of the game.
They get Kagan Roach. And so the 9-yard gain plus 15 yards for the Kagan Roach unsportsmanlike. Penalties and turnovers have been the undoing of Keith Patterson this year. They're 4-3. They've had in many ways a terrific season, but he has been really frustrated with his team's lack of discipline. What does he say? Before and after the whistle, I don't want any penalties. And they've had too many of each. Morrissey gives it to Latham, I believe, or is it Carter? It's Carter for a loss of 3. Good pursuit by ACU. And that was Luke Gams, who's in there, the nephew of ACU head coach great Chris Thompson. Chris Thompson was the head coach here from 2005 to 2011. Now he's one of the assistant coaches at Florida State. That's Luke, his sister Leslie's son. He came in for Kagan Roach and immediately made his presence felt. And his uncle, Chris Thompson, a great player for Abilene Christian, and before that at TCU. Here's Morrissey over the middle, pass caught. Another big play through the air, and that is Marcus Calwise Jr., who had a touchdown earlier, takes it into ACU territory, and Eastern Kentucky is on the move here, trailing 21-7 just moments ago, and now driving with a chance to tie the game.
Their offense is really coming alive this quarter. They're playing really, really well.
Had the takeaway on the fumble recovery. And now Morrissey finding a bit of rhythm. Fires off balance and lucky to get that one back. As he was chased by David Oakey. Incomplete, intended for Hunter Brown as tight end. Second down and 10 from the Abilene Christian 37. Remember, they're going into a stiff breeze. And so as good of a kicker as Nations is, 40 out of 50 in his decorated Colonel career as the kicker. You're looking at probably the 20 to 25 as a destination for a field goal attempt. They're thinking 7 to tie the game. Carter's the tailback. He'll get another chance here and knifes forward for about 3. Mark it at the 34 and a 3rd down and 7 coming up for the Colonels.
Be a big 3rd down for both teams right here, because certainly the Broncos with the momentum right now, if ACU could somehow make a stop here, probably I would say 2-down territory. I don't think you're in field goal range, of course, but
yeah,
although he kicked it off into this wind and it was into the end zone.
He did. Big leg A back to either side of Morrissey. Latham to his left, Montgomery to his right. 3rd and 7. Time to throw. He's got room to run. And that's going to be a first down for Morrissey, using his legs to get the Colonels to 1st and 10 to the ACU 25.
That's a nice play by him. It just opened up like the Red Sea, and he just followed his back out. He was a safety valve and was able to pick up a critical first down. Now they're in field goal range, I think.
Morrissey, who was a starter for Western Illinois last year, starting quarterback for his 3rd team now at Eastern Kentucky, trying to lead them all the way back from a couple of 14-point deficits. Steps up in the pocket again, dumps it off. This is Carter. Kirby Cohealy of Abilene Christian will bring him down, but not until he's picked up 7. Down to the 18-yard line. Clock runs midway through the 3rd quarter. Eastern Kentucky looking for its first road victory of the season, and Abilene Christian is trying to go to 4-1 in the conference with a bye week next week for Abilene Christian. Then they'll be home for Southern Utah. EKU goes home after 2 long road trips back-to-back, and they'll host Utah Tech next week. 2nd and short. A keeper from Morrissey, and he gets drilled by Cohealy. He'll lose a couple back to the 20. From Iowa Park, Texas, small high school, Kirby Cohealy, Keith Patterson says that he may have maxed out in terms of his ability as much as anyone he's coached. He's become a starter, a dependable run stopper, playmaker at the linebacker spot. 3rd down and 5 for EKU. Carter's the tailback. Leaks out into the flat. Pass is caught inside the 10 for a 1st and goal. Ron Van Jr. sets up the Colonels with a fresh set and a goal to go.
Wow, EKU has just come alive. Last drive of the first half, and then of course they've scored on both drives. They've had the ball this quarter and are
the one, and now they're driving again for sure.
Right, threatening a 2nd time or third series in a row.
Absolutely, going back, as you said, to the end of the first half. So 3 out wide left, and it's a give to Carter. Breaks a tackle down to the 3. He'll pick up 5 and a 2nd down and goal for the Colonels. It was 14-0 Abilene Christian. They had the ball on the Colonel side of the field after a short punt. And then a tipped ball became an interception for Jaheim Ward of the Colonels. They scored with less than 30 seconds to go in the half. After ACU scored to start the 3rd quarter, Colonels answered with a one-play 75-yard touchdown throw from Morrissey to Stanley. Now 2nd and goal. It's a give to Carter, and he'll be stopped shy. And I don't know if he got anything. 3rd and goal coming up. Will Schaefer was right there to make the stop.
Might have gave him a yard, half a yard to a yard. I believe they've got it marked on about the 3-yard line.
Boy, if Morrissey keeps it, it's always easy to look back. But that time, ACU was on Carter. And now a 3rd down and goal. It's been a good drive since the takeaway for the Colonels. Zone read, give it to Carter. He's into the end zone for a touchdown. And Eastern Kentucky is an extra point away from tying this game.
Well, that was an impressive drive. It's just the job they've done offensively, picking apart this Wildcat defense has been impressive.
So the Jordan Vaughn fumble becomes 6 the other way, and here's Nations on to attempt the extra point to tie it. The backup quarterback Herget holds, it's blocked. Scooped up and dropped. Kagan Roach had a block last week. And he keeps Abilene Christian up by 1 at the moment. That could have been Plumlee. We can see it again.
Timeout in the field.
That's the second straight week with a blocked extra point for Abilene Christian. 21-20, Abilene Christian leading Eastern Kentucky. First time that Walt Wells has coached here in Abilene. The fact that he's here at all is a bit of a miracle. For more, here's Roman Raffelli.
Thanks, Grant. Head coach Matt Wells was beginning to prepare for the team's 2022 season opener when he suffered a heart attack in his office a mere 5 days before kickoff. Thomas Bowling, Eastern Kentucky's director of football operations, found Wells and immediately contacted team trainers and paramedics. Wells did not have a pulse when the trainers got to him. He was rushed to the hospital, and when he arrived, doctors found a 95% blockage to the main artery in the front of Wells' heart. He returned to practice in a limited fashion with a heart rate monitor ahead of the team's game on September 10th against Bowling Green. Again, they went on to win in 7 overtimes. Coach returned to his game day duties the following week against Charleston Southern, gaining a 40-17 win. Grant, back to you.
Well, thank you, Roman. Walt Wells, I mean, he'll flat out tell you that I probably shouldn't be here right now. And if not for the incredible work of, as Roman was mentioning, Zach Vigliotti and Lauren Peterson, the trainers, and Thomas Bowling, who was there, his director of football operations, to even find him after collapsing. Walt Wells is here, and he is a spirited leader. He coached under the great Roy Kidd. Roy Kidd was, we lost last September. Roy Kidd was there. His wife, Sue, was there to support Walt and his wife, Jen. Walt has brought a lot of the coaches' wives, including his own wife, Jen, here this week to Abilene, and they're seeing a good one. Maverick McIver going deep, ball's up in the air, and that was a jump ball that no one was able to bring down, and McIver and the Cats dodge a bullet there.
I think he was hit as he was releasing that ball. As a matter of fact, I really feel like had Marcellus not fallen down, number 11, he was going to get the ball.
Yeah, he was hit.
Pick that one off.
So McIver has not been sacked yet today, but that time harassed enough. And it's a 2nd down and 10 with the Cats now only up by 1 after leading by 14. McIver over the middle through the hands of Martinez, who caught 13 balls last week. He is one of the leaders in the nation. Wouldn't have mattered anyway, I don't think, because they're saying that there is a foul against ACU.
Holding. Offense, number 57.
It is holding against ACU, and so interesting, 3rd and 10 or 2nd and 20. Walt Wells says we'll take the penalty and the yardage. Martinez has dropped a couple of balls today. Again, that one wouldn't have mattered because it would have been brought back, but one of the nation's leading receivers. He is 2nd in catches, 2nd in yards, 3rd in touchdowns, but credit Eastern Kentucky today. Jake Johnson, a former Colonel defensive coordinator, he's come up with a good plan for Martinez. What's the plan on 2nd and 20? It's a give to Hicks, and he'll get a few, maybe 3 or 4. And it's going to bring up 3rd down and long, and this game has changed.
Yeah,
with the Jordan Vaughn fumble. Abilene Christian was up 7, going in to push it back to 14 perhaps. Instead, the takeaway. Eastern Kentucky's now within 1.
Yeah, certainly the complexion of this game has changed as Abilene Christian still trying to get back on track. They have lost their groove offensively and have given up big plays defensively.
3rd and 16. They fake the screen one way, go the other way to Taylor. He's got one blocker. He breaks a tackle. He's got a 1st down. Blaine Taylor, 8 catches for 140 yards and a massive conversion on 3rd and a mile.
And that's just what ACU needed. They needed to pick up a few 1st downs and try to get back in their rhythm. They need to stay away, of course, from those 3rd and longs if they possibly can, because they're sure tough to get back, but ACU dodged a bullet on this drive.
Officially 8 catches for 133 yards and a touchdown for Blaine Taylor. 4th 100-yard receiving game of his ACU career. It's a screen to J.J. Henry. He's got 3 Colonels on him. That's a glorified run, really. Give him about 5 yards. And with EKU playing soft, Henry, the transfer from Ole Miss, gives ACU a 2nd and 5 near midfield.
And that's a great opening a play for a first down.
Drive starters, Keith Patterson calls them.
Just get 5 yards. Just make it easier on yourself.
Empty backfield for the moment. Now Hicks retreats in there. EKU sends an extra rusher. Pass is caught. This is Gibson this time, who's got forward progress across the 48, and that's a 1st and 10 for Abilene Christian as they try to answer the 13 straight points from Eastern Kentucky.
So far, the Colonels have been able to keep this Wildcat offense under check and keep them in front of them.
Screen with a blocker. It's J.J. Henry jitterbugging across the 35. And it's another 1st down as Martinez that time was out to lead the way. Take another look. And that was Martinez freeing up Henry, who doesn't need a lot of help. And the Cats are moving now with 2.5 to go in the 3rd quarter. 1st and 10 from the 33, and McIver wants to throw it again. Passes through the hands of Henry a little too high. McIver now 19 of 28 for 283 yards.
And maybe a little bit too much mustard on this ball.
All day to throw as they're dropping back.
Yeah, the Colonels are doing a good job of keeping everything in front of them. If ACU gets anything out of this drive, they're going to have to earn it because I don't think the Colonels are going to let them behind.
Hicks is the tailback and goes in motion. 4-man rush. McIver steps up in the pocket, and a little miscommunication or maybe intentional grounding here. Graham was over there.
There is no foul for intentional grounding. Number 2 is in the area.
There you go, Hut Graham, number 2.
Well, it's a good thing Hut Graham took off and running when he saw the ball released because he wasn't in the area when it was released, I don't think.
Yeah, that was McIver trying to get rid of the ball and avoid a sack. They're at the 33. If they don't get another yard, it'd be a 50-yard field goal attempt. Twice, ACU today has given up opportunities to attempt a field goal, to either punt or to go for it. Ritzy Vase has been solid this year for ACU, 8 of 10 field goal tries. Now it's a 3rd and 10. Snap to McIver, screens it, caught by Hicks. He's got one block on the outside, and it's Hicks, middle of the field, still on his feet. Sam Hicks gives ACU another 3rd down conversion, and it's 1st and 10 to the EKU 11. And there's been a lot of short passes that have become long ones. And Hicks, who is top 5 in the nation in all-purpose yards, 150 plus per game, has 46 on the ground today. He's got 22, make it 26 through the air. And it's a 1st and 10. ACU converting some big 3rd downs here. McIver lobs it for Taylor in the end zone, caught! Touchdown ACU! McIver to Taylor one more time.
You made it look easy.
And Blaine Taylor has been unstoppable today. 9 catches, 144 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Here was the latest.
Yeah, he didn't have to go up for that one. Great pass, good route, great drive by the Wildcats. Finally getting back in sync a little bit.
And ACU, which has not trailed in this game, has Ritzy Vase out there to attempt the extra point to put them up by 8. Late 3rd quarter. The extra point is good.
I've got a late flag.
10 plays. There's a flag down. 10 plays, 75 yards. One more look. That was textbook from McIver. Gave it some air. And Taylor at 6'5" brought it in. Let's see what the foul is about.
Eastern Kentucky, number 9, his first of the game.
Well, they're going to get Eastern Kentucky for an unsportsmanlike on that occasion. ACU was dinged for one earlier. And Taylor, you talk about the explosive players in the passing game. Jed Castles has been terrific all for the last couple of seasons. Martinez has been the breakout star this year in his first year at ACU, but it's been Taylor, who's been here the last couple of years, who's been dynamic today.
Yeah, it's funny how seems like a receiver will have a hot hand one game, and it'll be him, and then it may be Hutt another game, and then it may be Nehemiah another game. But certainly today, it's Taylor. He has come up big for the Wildcats.
And with that call against EKU, is 15 yards assessed on the kick. And so Kyler Meskey from the 50. I mean, obviously the most likely play here is just, kick it to Anson, Texas, with the wind at his back. You could try to get cute, maybe do something directionally here and pin them a little deeper, but any kind of fair catch becomes a touchback. And that one is going to go well out of the end zone. And so now Matt Morrissey, who's been terrific, especially starting toward the end of the second quarter. He's now 13 of 20 for 189 yards. Couple of touchdowns, did have that one pick in the end zone.
Yeah, he's been impressive. He's been impressive. This EKU Colonel offense has showed me that they can score, and they can score quick. I hadn't seen it yet today, but boy, they sure pulled it out in the third quarter and showed us what they're capable of doing. So this game is just turning into a great Saturday afternoon ball game.
Well, the last time they had it 1st and 10 to the 25, they hit Daquan Stanley from Morrissey for 75 yards. Here they give it to Latham, and he'll get maybe 3 out to the 28. You got just over a minute to go. So Abilene Christian, as they were last week, late third quarter, up 8. That game at North Alabama, they actually had the ball with a chance to go up 2 scores, couldn't get it done, and North Alabama came back, outscored them 21-0 to end the game, and won it by 13. Now Morrissey, what can he do for EKU? As the shadow from the press box covers most of that side of the field. Looking over the middle, the pass is through the hands of his intended receiver, Jaden West. And it brings up a 3rd down and 7. And a play that suddenly takes on a little greater urgency for EKU, trailing by 8. One more look here. It's catchable, a little behind him.
Yeah,
but
a little behind. Little behind.
That's not the same Jaden West who was doing the halftime show for us, by the way, on the ESPN Plus broadcast. Latham is the tailback with Morrissey on 3rd down and 7. Brown, the tight end, motions. ACU sends 4 over the middle. Pass is intercepted by Schaefer. Will Schaefer to the near sideline. Had a pick on the last game here at home, and a big takeaway for Abilene Christian.
Wow. I'll tell you what, Morrissey had a receiver open on the left side of the field that would have been a first down and an easier throw, but I don't know that he saw him. He might not even been the intended receiver.
Schaefer, a transfer from Arizona State, just dropped back and was able to bring them. Those are some pretty impressive ball skills.
Really are. Yeah, really are. He's been very active today.
The leading tackler for ACU creates a very similar situation to last week that we mentioned. ACU was up 8, had the ball inside the 30 of the opponent with a chance to really make it tough. Instead, they missed a field goal after a touchdown was called back, and let's see what McIver opts to do here.
I don't think we have enough play. Abilene Christian. Yeah.
We'll see. It's a give to Hicks, and he'll knife through for maybe 3. Let's see where they give him forward progress, 3 or 4. That could be the final play of the third quarter. ACU's got a chance to go hurry up here if they want to have one more play with the wind at their backs. I don't know that matters a whole lot. They've scored a couple of times into the wind as well. You got 15 seconds and counting. Hicks has been terrific with a touchdown run and a couple of big catches. 3 seconds, 2, 1.
This marks the end of the
and Abilene Christian will be content to take an 8-point lead into the fourth quarter. 2nd down and 7 inside the EKU 20 for ACU after the takeaway from Will Schaefer. Ready for the fourth quarter in Abilene, Texas. Homecoming at Abilene Christian. And the Wildcats trying to win their 6th straight homecoming game. It's been a good one. They lead it 28-20, and after a Will Schaefer interception, the Cats have it. And they're going to go with a reverse to Martinez. Not much. Braden Sullivan there to wrap him up for a loss of a yard. The leading tackler for the Colonels with a big play. The sophomore brings up a 3rd and long for ACU, and a chance for the Cats going into the wind to go up by 2 scores. They're going to need another 3rd down conversion here, and a nice play by Sullivan in the open field.
Great play. If Nehemiah could have got outside, he might have had enough space to score, but great play by the Colonel defense.
Maverick McIver in the gun, 3rd down and 8. Steps up in the pocket and dumps it off. It's caught by Hicks. He's got a 1st down. Was he across the line of scrimmage? I don't think he was.
No.
I think it's a 1st down for ACU. I don't see a flag on the play. And Hicks has made another big play. Kick return, running it, and now catching it. And pretty good recognition by Maverick, who I think was thinking about running it. Found Hicks in the flat. And that is a massive conversion for ACU. That's the 3rd conversion in the last couple of drives of 9 or more.
Well, as you know, the quarterback's entire body has to be past the line of scrimmage.
Into the flat, caught by Hicks, then lost it, and that was dangerously close to being picked off. And it'll bring up a 2nd down and goal.
Timeout for an injured defensive player.
Nice play there by Vito Tisdale for the Colonels to save a potential touchdown.
Vito was a game-time decision.
On the field.
We got a timeout on the field. Abilene Christian leading it by 8, trying to extend it here early 4th quarter, leading Eastern Kentucky 28-20. Here's the team that's bringing you our coverage today on ESPN+. Hi, everybody. Hutton Harris, our producer, leading the TV studio at Abilene Christian University.
What a great department that is
It
for
is.
the university. I think you went through that department,
I did,
if I'm
and
not mistaken.
I'm grateful for every moment. Maverick McIver from San Angelo, Texas. You mentioned his father, Rick. Terrific quarterback for University of Texas. Maverick played small high school football, 6-man football, until moving to San Angelo. Went to Texas Tech. Didn't play for 4 years because of injury and red shirts. 3rd season as the starter for ACU. He's been terrific. Got a 2nd down and goal. Time to throw. McIver into the end zone for Castles, too high. Into triple coverage. And Eastern Kentucky is backing off and letting Maverick throw it up.
Yeah, they are. They're doing a really good job, and I think Maverick did all he could to throw it away, but give his 6'7" tight end. If anybody's going to catch it, it's going to be a 6'7" tight end.
This is a big moment of the game here. ACU up by 1 score at the moment. A chance to make it 2. McIver, 3rd down and goal. Fires it into the end zone, or short of the end zone. Henry down to the 3. So you got a 4th and goal at the 3. A field goal makes it an 11-point game, and here comes Ritzy Vase and the ACU field goal unit.
Yep, you've got to do that. You've got to make it a 2-score game.
Well, you're so tempted. They marked the ball at the 4. If he's at the 1, maybe it's a little different. To credit EKU, after Will Schaefer returned the interception to the 20, they force a field goal attempt from the right hash. And Vase, who kicked a 54-yarder to win at the buzzer at Northern Colorado. Good snap, good hole. The kick is away, and it is good. And ACU, which is led by as many as 14 a couple of times today, goes back up by 2 scores. The turnover becomes points for Abilene Christian. They lead by 11 with a lot of time left. Beautiful afternoon here in West Texas, in Abilene, about 2 hours west of Fort Worth. And the homestanding Wildcats of Abilene Christian at homecoming lead Eastern Kentucky. First matchup of these two teams here Only other matchup was 2021. Walt Wells got the win for the Colonels that day in October of 21. Now the Colonels will battle from a 2-score deficit again. Kyler Meskey kicks it off. Jalen Montgomery from the 5, one of the best in the nation, can't quite get to the 25. So ACU's kick coverage team has been solid today. And the Colonels, who twice have fought back from 14 down, will play from 11 in arrears here, and for them, just 12:48 to go. You see the WB there, Wally Bullington, the great head coach for Abilene Christian. Each team has a legendary head coach. Eastern Kentucky's Roy Kidd, talked about, who passed away last year. Wife Sue still watches the games. They have one child who lives in Texas, down in the Austin area. Another lives there in Richmond, Kentucky, home of EKU. He really was that university for so many. Morrissey with pressure coming, hits Van across the middle, and Van still going for a big gainer. Out to the 41-yard line, a gain of 17, and Morrissey has found his stride here late first half and into the second.
Yeah, he has. He's been impressive today. I have really been impressed with him, and he's got some good skilled guys around him, and ACU not able to get the pressure on him I thought they might be able to get on him today.
1st and 10 from their own 41. Boy, an enormous game for both teams in the UAC standings. Carter goes in motion. Pass over the middle, caught, and this is another big gain for Cowwise, who's been terrific today. Cowwise with his 4th catch. That'll take him to close to 60 yards as he's out to the 40 of Abilene Christian. That is a gain of 19 and a 1st and 10, and this is just what EKU needed. They don't have to score in a minute, but they need to play with some intentionality here for sure, and they're doing that. 3 out to the wide side. Morrissey, as he's been all day, in the gun. Carter to his left. 3-man rush for ACU, and that leaves an opportunity for Morrissey with his legs to keep it for 5. Held the ball out with his left hand there briefly, and an ACU defender.
I saw that. I thought he
close
might get
to knocking
stripped.
it away.
Yeah.
He got strip sacked last week at Southern Utah in a game that his team trailed by 7 at the time. Southern Utah went in to make it 28-14 and never looked back. Went on to win it 42-21. Eastern Kentucky went to the playoffs a couple of years ago after winning the Atlantic Sun. Had to do it again here. Screen out to Cowwise, and he goes out of bounds. Very close to the 1st down. Let's see what they say. I think they say move the chains. Yeah, they do. I think. Is it 3rd and inches or is it 1st and 10? The line judge says move the chains. And Cowwise may have even had his face mask yanked. Not sure if it was enough to merit a foul. Old days, that might have been a 5-yarder. So in just a couple of minutes' time, they've moved down to the Abilene Christian 30. And the Colonels got to have points here, some kind. Morrissey, time to throw, over the middle, behind West, his intended receiver. And that'll bring things to a halt for a moment, 2nd and 10.
That's the same play they threw to Cowwise a while ago. The drag, trying to clear everybody out, drag across, and he just threw it behind him a little bit.
And both of these teams just really racked by injuries before the year even started. ACU not with the services of Darius Moore, last year's leading tackler, and Reese Young at the linebacker spot. Eastern Kentucky missing a couple of linebackers as well. This is Morrissey over the middle, pass caught, and again it's Cowwise, and again a big play. Inside the ACU 15, down to the 13-yard line, a gain of 17. Morrissey and Cowwise hooked up for their first touchdown to the end of the first half. And now it's a fresh set of downs for the Colonels.
Boy, Cowwise is very dependable. And they're, ACU DBs are trying to drop him back, and he's just doing kind of a stick route, a curl route over the middle underneath the coverage.
17 catches coming in, 6 today. Morrissey, again time to throw a ball up in the air. Schaefer knocked it away from Jackson House, and it falls to the turf. 2nd and 10. Again, some kind of points feel mandatory here for Eastern Kentucky with 9.5 minutes to go. A field goal would make it an 8-point game, and then they'd lean on their defense. But I think they're thinking 8 at the moment. Touchdown at a 2-point conversion. Carter's the tailback to the right of Morrissey. ACU rushes 3. A dump off, it's Cowwise again. It goes inside the 10. He'll be shy of the 1st. They'll mark him at the 6, and it'll bring up a 3rd down and 3.
Once again, a pass underneath ACU's coverage. ACU's just not letting them get behind them, forcing them to throw the ball underneath. But EKU has been patient enough to take what they're giving him and then let their playmakers get yards after the catch, which they've done pretty successfully today.
The freshman having his best game as a Colonel. It's a give to Carter, and it's going to be very close. The pile pushed forward, I think, past the line to gain. It's going to be close. They're going to whistle a stoppage, I think, to just check and see where things are. It's either 1st and goal or 4th and inches. They eyeball it, and they're going to say 4th down. Well, now a decision for Walt Wells. You can make it a 1-score game if you get stopped here. I think Walt Wells wants a measurement.
I don't think he's going to get it.
The offense stays on the field. Here comes the biggest play of the game. You're giving up a gimme 3.
Well, you've got to have it anyway. You have to have 3 anyway.
They're thinking 2 touchdowns maybe would win it. 4th down and inches. Maybe they're going to try to draw ACU off sides. Let's see. Morrissey takes the snap. 4th down and inches. Into the end zone. It is incomplete. And ACU gets the stop.
Wow, incredible. I don't understand that. You need to get points from this drive. You cannot walk away from this drive. If you have to go up for it on 4th down, do it when the 4th down play would give you a chance to tie the game.
And Tyson Williams, who deflected the pass in the end zone that led to an interception in the first half, gets the deflection here. And Eastern Kentucky is denied.
Yeah, unfortunate for them. They've been playing great. That was a great drive. Good night. As a former coach, I don't like questioning another coach. I'm sure he would say the same thing now. Yeah, dadgum, wish I'd have got 3 out of this thing, because it's still a 2-possession game.
I do wonder if the closeness of the run created enough confusion and doubt. I think they thought they had the first. But now it's ACU from their own 3, and it's Hicks with a nice drive starter, as Keith Patterson calls it. Gain of 6, 2nd down and 4 from the 10 coming up. And now if you're Abilene Christian, even if you don't score another point, if you get a few first downs here and take a chunk off this clock with 8 minutes to go, then that would be mission accomplished.
Let's see if ACU tries to slow it down. 25 seconds on the play clock. Apparently they're just going to try to keep going in their rhythm.
2nd down and 4. In motion is Martinez. They snap it with 15 on the clock, and again it's Hicks, and he spins out of 1 tackle. He's, I think, got the first down to the 15. So Sam Hicks.
For an injured defensive player.
And another Colonel who's down. I think it's Brad Gurley this time.
Full timeout on the field.
Hicks played a couple of seasons at Central Michigan. And the legend lives on from the Chippewas on down here to Abilene, Texas. He's got his Wildcats up 11. Timeout on the field midway through the 4th. Oh, it's a festive atmosphere here in Abilene, Texas. Look at this little fella. Get him some NIL money. Hayes Harris taking it to the house. Look, he's got some snacks smushed all over his face. Life is good.
Lots of activities. That was a carnival that went on yesterday evening on the campus.
It's the son of our producer, Hutton Harris. Gets his athletic ability from his mother, as we know.
I wonder if Coach Patterson has got that letter of intent out yet.
He needs to. Well, that's a big turn of events here. ACU gets a stop on 4th and inches at the 3. Now Sam Hicks gives them a first down. He'll get another carry. Hicks bounces it to the outside, gets a block from Taylor. He's across the 30, and Sam Hicks pushes ACU out to the 36-yard line with a gain of 21. And ACU now has its sights set on putting this game away. Hang on to the football if you're Abilene Christian, and you're going to be tough to beat at this point. Again, a massive decision by Walt Wells earlier in the game, just moments ago, actually. 4th and inches from the 3, down 11. He eschewed the field goal attempt, tried to punch it in for 6 and maybe a 2-point conversion, and instead, ACU got the stop. Martinez comes in motion. 1st and 10 from their own 36. It's a give to Hicks again. And a terrific tackle from Maddox Marcellus. And it's a gain of only 1, but the clock runs in precious seconds, elapsing for Eastern Kentucky with an 11-point deficit.
Yeah, it looks like ACU is going to slow down a little bit, let some timer off the clock, which is obviously very wise. It's a 2-possession game, and so every second is important for EKU.
It's an Eastern Kentucky team averaging just 21 points per game. Again, they played a couple of FBS teams, and that will impact your scoring average for sure. But 20 today. McIver's gone over 300 yards. He lobs one for Eddie Henry, and it's knocked away. And it'll bring up a 3rd down and long. Henry, the tight end. They went play action on Hicks. And
nice pass breakup.
It was Jaheim Ward who had the interception earlier who knocked it away. And that pass breakup stops the clock for one thing, and it creates a 3rd and 9. Now remember, ACU is going into the wind. And if Grant Nickel has to punt one, and he'll have that to deal with.
Kind of a head scratcher, you know. You're in a 3rd and long, and the clock is stopped.
Big play here. ACU's converted some 3rd and longs here in the second half, and McIver with time to throw goes left side, caught by Taylor, his 10th catch of the day, and he gives ACU a 1st and 10.
And how many were big 3rd down and long catches? Not just catches. I'm talking about critical catches to keep drives going.
So Taylor now with these 10 catches today for 154 yards. Taylor comes off the field, and it looks like he's holding his left arm. That wasn't the easiest of catches. Had to go down to get it, and when you're going down from 6'5", it takes some doing. So a fresh set of downs, and again, they play from their own 3, and here's Hicks to the outside. Stutter step across the 30 to inside the 25, and Sam Hicks is going to cross the 100-yard mark with that first down run, and ACU is less than 5 minutes away from improving to 5-3 and 4-1 in the conference.
Sam Hicks is saying, Isaiah Johnson, just get well. I got it.
Isaiah Johnson, the part of that 1-2 punch with Hicks, out today. Bye week for ACU next week. Chance to get everybody healthy. And they'll try to do it off of a homecoming victory. Under 4 minutes to play. Time on ACU side, the score on ACU side. Martinez, nowhere to go except backwards. He'll lose a couple. Great pursuit. Maddox Marcellus leading a pack of Colonels. And we may see the first timeout for EKU here with 3:41 to go. Unless there was a flag that I didn't see.
I tell you what, for a team that had to travel 1,050 miles to get here, after they traveled, what, 1,500 miles last week, I'm impressed. I'm impressed with the way they're playing. I'm impressed with the way they're coached. They've got great schemes.
Timer,
They're just trying to hang on.
3:49 on the game clock, 3:49. Play clock's at 40. It'll start on my
3:49 on the clock. It is a timeout for Eastern Kentucky. Yeah, they go to Southern Utah last week, which in Cedar City, not an easy trip for a lot of reasons. It's not just a long plane ride, but you're landing in St. George, an hour or so away.
Thank you.
You're going up the mountain to get to Cedar City. It is a decided home field advantage. Those Thunderbirds have the day off today. They'll come to Abilene in 2 weeks, and that's going to be a massive showdown. They lost a game to Tarleton State on a missed extra point. So Tarleton State, the only unbeaten team. Take a look at ACU's schedule. Week off next week, and then you get Southern Utah here. You go to Clarksville, Tennessee to play Walt Wells' alma mater, Austin Peay. Then it's at Tarleton State. Remember, Stephen F. Austin, this was a conference game until Stephen F. decided to go back to the Southland. Second down and a dozen. It's a give to Hicks. Running right, Sam Hicks makes one man miss. He's down to the 16. Give him another 10. He had 200 yards plus against Utah Tech a few weeks ago, and he's over 100 here today. Remember, a kick returning, catching it out of the backfield. He's got 3 for 36 receiving today, and 121 on 19 carries, averaging 6.5 a pop. Third down and about 2 as the clock runs, and ACU with still 7 seconds, 6, 5 on the play clock. And now McIver gets his team set. 1 second to go. They got to call a timeout, I think. And Keith Patterson does step in to call the timeout.
There's a lot of alumni here with homecoming. Let's take a look at the Colonel schedule.
They go home to play Utah Tech. They'll try to get reacquainted with the Roy Kidd Stadium there. Then they'll go to Tarleton State. They haven't played in Texas very much. I think it's their 5th time to play in the state of Texas. They'll come right back to Stephenville, probably fly into DFW and then drive over. Home for Central Arkansas, at Austin Peay, home for North Alabama. So for Eastern Kentucky, today doesn't knock them out of a chance at a share of the conference title, but it's going to make it tough. For ACU, they really had to have this one. You saw ACU's schedule earlier with big games against Southern Utah and Tarleton State. But the Wildcats have done enough today, and McIver on a 3rd and short gives it to Hicks, and that time nowhere to go. Gabe Fletcher was the first to get him. It's a 4th down and 4. And now with 2:21 to go, you've got choices here. If you're Keith Patterson, you could try to kick a field goal to make it a 14-point game, or you could just say, you know what, let's go for it, and they've got a long field if we don't get it. ACU number 17 in the nation. Take a look at the FCF standing. How about the game today? South Dakota State against North Dakota State. That is 1 versus 2 in the Missouri Valley Football Conference. FCS Top 25 Coaches Poll. ACU's 21st in this poll. They're 17th in another. And Keith Patterson told us this week, Bob, that he was concerned about his team hearing the noise, as he called it. Hey, they were 10th in the nation going to North Alabama, a team that was 2-5 going in. And he felt like that was all part of just enough lack of concentration to cost them that game. Ritzy Vase is on to make this a 14-point game if he can convert. It'd be a 35-yard field goal. Hugo Nash holds it into the wind. The kick is good. And ACU's lead for a 3rd time today is back to 14.
And it's big because now they've got to score 2 touchdowns as opposed to a touchdown, a field goal, a touchdown, and a 2-point play.
And while it may be easy to second guess, it is certainly easy to second guess any coaching decision from up here. This could have been part of what Walt Wells was thinking. Even if we kick the field goal, if they go down and they answer with the field goal, we're back to down 2 scores again.
ACU number 19 is
as it turned out, ACU goes from their own 3 down to the 18-yard line of Eastern Kentucky. So think about an 87-yard touchdown drive for Abilene Christian, an 80-yard touchdown drive. That time they go 78. In 11 plays, they take 6:07 off the clock.
That's impressive. Hey, talking about
Yeah.
homecoming, saw a few people here. The president of the Colorado Rockies,
Yes.
Greg Beasel, a former teammate of mine here, All-American.
Yes.
Is here today. He's kind of a big deal.
He's
up there.
well, he's big, period.
Well, he's big. He's 6'7".
Yeah,
6'8".
6'7", 6'8". His daughter Zoe is in the homecoming musical, so that'll be a big weekend for the Feasels. Here's Montgomery, and he gets his best return of the day out to the 29-yard line. He's been largely contained by ACU's kick coverage team today, and now with 2:11, you got 1 timeout for Eastern Kentucky plus the 2-minute timeout, and we'll see if they can get 1 or maybe 2 plays off before the 2-minute timeout. Well, they cut it to 1, and ACU blocked the extra point to keep it the narrowest of margins at 21-20. And since then, ACU with a touchdown and a field goal to stretch the lead, a couple of field goals actually, to stretch the lead to 14.
Well,
Matt Morrissey, 4 yards and a couple of touchdowns. And he'll drop back to let this one rip, dumps it off. It's caught by Carter out of the backfield, and that'll be the final play before the 2-minute timeout.
Which works out well for Coach Wells because, well, no, I thought he went. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
they don't stop the clock until
NFL. It's under 5. College, it's under 2. And we are at that 2-minute timeout. Abilene Christian closing in on a 4-1 conference record. Two minutes to go here in Abilene, Texas. Tower of Light on the Abilene Christian campus. ACU leads Eastern Kentucky by 14. Over the middle, this is Daquan Stanley. He's going to give the Colonels a 1st and 10 across their own 40. Now we're inside 2 minutes. The clock will stop to spot the ball after a first down. And here is Morrissey looking left. It's intercepted by Kelly, his second one of the day. He's being told to go to the ground by Tyson Williams. And that will do it. Williams is the one who created Kelly's first interception. That time he says, we're up 14, go down.
That's right. Yeah, that was a nice play. ACU defense just been playing kind of patient, just keeping everything in front of them, making it go slow, and then somehow able to come up with a couple of interceptions today, which were very timely, and certainly that one sealed the game.
Well, Morrissey, who only had 2 interceptions all season coming into the game, has thrown 3 today. That one, you're desperate. You're down 14. You got to get rid of the ball. You got to make something happen. McIver had one like that late in the game last week, down by 2 scores. It's a give to Hicks, fittingly. ACU will try to end the game with the ball in his hands. He's got a first down and more, as Hicks takes a pop and says, move the chains. 1st and 10, ACU. And now, if they so choose, they could go victory formation. They won on this field 2 weeks ago against Central Arkansas. It was a game that Keith Patterson said had the potential to be a program-changing victory. He said it made the North Alabama game the biggest game of the year. They go to North Alabama, they fall, losing a third-quarter lead, losing by 13 ultimately down in Florence, Alabama. They come back today, licking their wounds a bit, and they've done more than enough to get it done. They'll give it to Hicks at least once more. And Marcellus will bring him down. And a timeout taken by Walt Wells, their final timeout. Winning the turnover battle has been tough for ACU this season. They have not done that much. They only a couple of times have won the turnover battle. They're up 3-2 today.
And that's difficult for Coach Patterson to deal with when they lose the turnover battle, because he knows how key that is and how key explosive plays are. Those are two of the most important things a head coach wants to know. And you can almost predict who's going to win the game based on those two stats. Not always, but.
Now, McIver today has been terrific. 24 of 37 for 340 yards, 3 touchdowns. He's got 53 for his career, 20 for the season. A new ACU high in his 3rd season.
And how many 300-yard games?
Yeah, he just keeps racking them. He had a 500-yard game against Texas Tech. And another give. 6th career 300-yard game today. This is the 4th time that ACU's gone over 500 yards of offense. They have a couple of games over 600 yards. And now they'll just let some clock run here. A minute to go in the game. And again, going into a bye week, Keith Patterson felt like the loss last week made every game. This is what the way coaches think. Every game is the biggest game of the year from now on.
Absolutely.
And he said if we win this one Saturday against Eastern Kentucky, it makes the game against Southern Utah the biggest game of the year.
Coach Patterson choosing to let the clock run out, call a timeout. Of course, 3rd down, Eastern Kentucky can't stop the clock again, so obviously all they have to do is get in victory formation, take one more snap, and that ought to do it.
Well, Sam Hicks, who has had a 200-yard game. That was against Utah Tech. He was the player of the week in the UAC. After that performance, I think he's got a chance to be player of the week again. It's, again, a light week in the conference with just 2 conference games and one other game involving a conference team. Austin Peay held off Utah Tech 13-7. That's a final. West Georgia out of conference beat Shorter 41-13. But for Sam Hicks today, I mean, McIver certainly is a candidate with 3 touchdowns and 340 yards, but Hicks today, 23 carries, 134 yards, 36 yards receiving, and a touchdown. He'll get one more carry here. And Hicks with the pile moving mainly because of him and the legs churning. Picks up one more first down from the 28 down to the 16, so tack on 12 more yards. And ACU doesn't have to snap it again.
Well, between Blaine Taylor
and
Sam Hicks, we've got,
yeah,
and without even saying Maverick McIver.
Yeah, you got McIver, Hicks, and Blaine Taylor. Taylor 10 for 154 and a couple of touchdowns receiving. And the final seconds tick off the clock, and the first meeting between these two teams in Abilene goes the way of the Wildcats. They win it 34-20. Abilene Christian goes to 5-3, heading into their bye week. And Eastern Kentucky falls to 3-4. ACU goes to 4-1 in conference play. EKU falls to 1-2. McIver gets a slap on the backside from his head coach Keith Patterson. He goes 24 of 37 for 340. And 10 of those 24 completions went to Blaine Taylor. 154 yards receiving, a couple of touchdown receptions. And when you do that, you get to talk to Roman Raffelli. Roman, take it away.
Thanks, Grant. I'm here with Blaine Taylor. Blaine, you had 2 touchdowns and a career high in receiving yards today. What led you to be so successful?
Practice. You got to come with the right mindset. We practice every day. Go full speed, go all out, and trust between me and the quarterback. So we need. And, of course, the O-line, of course. Without them, I wouldn't be able to get the ball.
The defense had 3 turnovers today. How does that allow the offense to be successful?
Well, that's what we needed. We need 3 turnovers every game. That's our goal. That's what we go for. It helps the offense because we get that. We get momentum. Go punch in the end zone, keep the drives going.
Big win today, moving to 4-1 in conference and getting a homecoming crowd win. What does this game mean for your team going forward?
One step closer to a conference championship, and then we're trying to go 4-1 at home. So this is another big step for us.
Thank you, Blaine. Good luck this year. To the desk with Matthew and Jaden.
ACU moves to 4-1 in conference. Jaden, that ACU offense starting strong in the red zone. What did you see from them moving down the stretch in that second half to close the game?
Yeah, well, not only the second half, but in the first half, the entire game, they were 5 for 5 in the red zone, scoring on all 5 chances, which that's against the best red zone defense in the conference in Eastern Kentucky. So they handled it really well when it was important and they needed to.
ACU made adjustments in the second half, increased their efficiency in the red zone. EKU, what did you see from the Colonels in that second half to try to keep up with ACU?
Yeah, you take a look at their final stats here. 265 yards in the air. 198 of that came in the second half. So they really came out throwing the ball down the field like we talked about at half. And so that was efficient for them. It kind of kept them in this ball game until they turned the ball over twice late in the game.
In this season, ACU has struggled at times to finish strong. How did you see that change today?
I really saw them, yeah, you said it. They finished super strong. They scored 5 for 5 in the red zone and 10 big plays for 236 yards. They scored on all but 1 drive in the second half besides that fumble. It was the 4th time this year with over 500 yards on offense. You had McIver, Blaine Taylor, Sam Hicks, all 3 of them playing really great today. And it was a good win for ACU, one they needed to do, and they finished really well here at the end of it.
The 4th time ACU goes over 500 yards this season. 2 second half interceptions for ACU to help seal the win. ACU will have a bye week next week before playing Southern Utah on November 2nd. Grant, back to you.
Matthew and Jaden, ACU bounces back from a tough road loss in Alabama. Maverick McIver with 3 touchdown tosses. Eastern Kentucky fought back a couple of times from 14 points down, but ACU got it done. 34-20, the final score. McIver throws for 340 and 3 touchdowns. Sam Hicks rushes for 146 yards and a score. Blaine Taylor goes 10 catches for 154. For Bob Shipley and the entire crew, I'm Grant Boone. Thanks for watching the UAC on ESPN+.